Like, did that actually happen? It seems so insane.
Okay, the most insane part of it, which I guess was before you got there, to me at least, is like you come into work every day in the White House, right? You know, I have an office in the West Wing. There's the Oval Office in the West Wing, and you look out the window, and as this
See, you know, just right off the bat, they just starting with bullshit. They're just starting with bullshit. Like they're talking about UFC 250, right? So, I mean, if you look at everything that happened that night, and they're talking about how wild it was, and JD Vance right off the bat is saying that, like, you know, the craziest part about it was when he'd go to work and looking out the window and seeing it getting built. Really, JD? That's what you think the most interesting or craziest part of that night was? Wasn't the guy winning the fight and then yelling that Michelle Obama's a man? Wasn't Sean Strickland showing up, crashing the thing, and getting hauled out in cuffs? Wasn't Daniel Cormier leaking the messages from Eric Trump that he was trying to bet on the fixed fights, or seeing if any fights were fixed or anybody was injured to get some inside information to bet on? It wasn't any of that. It was actually leading up to the fight, looking out his window and seeing some construction on the lawn. This is how we're going to start it. You already know where this is going.
like 8-story complex was growing up. It was just the most unbelievable thing. It's like the south lawn of the White House, but you've got the 8th wonder of the world being built up around it. And every day I'd look at it and be like, it would take me a couple seconds to be like, what the hell is going on? And I'd be like, oh yeah, it's UFC. It's UFC coming in a couple weeks.
The whole thing was surreal. Yeah. First of all, it was crazy that the weather just went around us. Like there was a real.
Oh, now we're going to talk about how crazy the weather was, you know, because like it almost rained. And then the rain just, you know, went around them. It's so crazy. We've never seen any of that before. You know, all the other stuff that I just mentioned, though. You think they're even going to talk about it? Guys, put a 1 in the chat if you've seen this already. Don't give any spoilers if you have, please. But I you know, if that's the bar where we're going to start with how crazy things are, we might be in for a long night.
Real moment where the fights would have been postponed until 10:30 p.m. to start.
Correct.
And last minute, the storm just diverted.
That's right. Well, and you know,
so
this book that I have that I guess we'll talk about a little bit, but the book tour started the next day. So I was flying to New York the next day to talk.
Oh shit, that's what we're doing here. I thought we were going to talk about real things and real issues. You know, I thought maybe we were going to get JD's take on the Charlie Kirk assassination and what he thought of Lance Twiggs' pre-recorded statements and the whole week that we just went through of the Tyler Robinson preliminary hearings for the trial. But no. JD Vance apparently is here to talk about the weather and his new book.
About it. And all I could think about is every time we got the update from White House weather, it might not start until 10:30. I was thinking to myself, well, holy shit, that means I'm going to go to bed at like 4 a.m. I'm going to look like a total crazy person when I'm trying to go talk about this book. But yeah, it amazingly it did work out. Honestly, it actually helped a little bit because, as you know, it was hot as hell out there.
Yeah.
And it was super humid, you know, mid-June in DC. And I think the weather actually helped cool it down a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? Since you guys are showing up so late, and I'm seeing the generosity right off the bat. You guys want to send supers, gift memberships, or anything? We're gonna, unless it's like an actual important part, I'm not gonna like drag everything out and save it till the end. We're just gonna read these as we go. Awakening, Bayes is base. Thank you very much. I like to think I am. If you were watching Nate a little while ago, he gave me a nice plug. Apparently, he was going to raid me on Tuesday night, which would have been nice. We would have had a real party. But apparently I was sleeping. I told him that I was probably going to stream at night. And you know what? I'm just going to sleep. And I'm getting people DMing me saying that Valhalla is trying to raid my channel. Where's my stream? Where's my stream? And I was just snoring away. But thank you for the $5. New member, Aussie for Aussies. I thought you were already a member. No? Well, welcome. And thank you very much. And we got Keats gifting 5 RealBayes memberships. Thank you, brother. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. All right, all right. We'll get back to it. I can't wait to hear all about JD's new book.
Because by about 10 o'clock or so, I was not thinking it's hot as hell out here anymore.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, but I talked to Justin Gaethje about it, and he said it was a problem when he was fighting. He said the air was very thick.
Okay.
Like right after the first round, he was like, boy, like this is rough.
I'm sure it wasn't as thick as the air is in Canada right now, or even where I am in New York. I mean, damn, all these fires and stuff, they're just trying to suffocate us, man. I swear.
Because that hot, humid air, and you know, it's,
no, it's
fine walking around.
I mean, it's okay walking around. It still feels, it is a swamp, right? That's why people call it the swamp. So, you know, that's obviously June 14th. That's the president's.
That's not why they call it the swamp.
That's one of the reasons why they call it the swamp.
They call it the swamp.
They call it swamp because of my colleagues too.
Because it's filled with mud and water and gunk and shit and swamp monsters.
Oh man. So that's June 14th. So that's the president's birthday. That was my 12th wedding anniversary.
Oh wow.
And my wife. So that's the one thing, like if somebody runs in here, it's because my wife's going.
Anne Marie with a very big, generous super chat. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Hello, friend. Up late tonight, croqueting my blanket for the state fair. Glad you're on. Awesome surprise. Yo, I'm really feeling the love tonight. Thank you very much. Yo, you gotta post some more of what you make in the Discord too. I definitely want to check it out. And if I don't know if you sell these blankets you like to make, but let me know. I got a little baby at home. I'll buy one for sure.
Into labor because she's like 39 weeks pregnant. But I remember we go out to dinner like right before the UFC fight. And we're, of course, checking the weather report to figure out what's going on. And, you know, my wife normally likes to come to the cool stuff.
Oh, we got Freedom Sherry, $10. Thank you very much. Okay, Bayes. We don't agree on everything, but do enjoy your content. To the person who gifted me, thank you. Listen, I don't pander. You know, I can't promise that you're always going to agree with everything I say. I can't even promise that I'm never going to say anything that's going to offend you. But I'm not going to try to intentionally offend anybody. I mean, not civilians for the most part. I'm just always going to be honest. And I'm not always going to be right either. And when I'm wrong about things, I'll always be willing to take accountability. And that's really all I could say in it. You know, I have good intentions. I just, you know, my platform is just all about spreading positive vibes, warning people and educating them on the corruption of the world, having some fun, doing some public investigations, and just keeping it real. You know, like that's really all I could say. And I appreciate every one of you that supports my channel and checks out my content, especially the ones that feel like they have a hard time doing so sometimes when they don't like what I always have to say. But like, you know, it's not an echo chamber either. Haters are welcome. People that disagree with me are more than welcome. And I'll always hear you guys out one way or another.
Of being vice president, that was the one where she was like, it's hot, I'm super pregnant, and I'm not going to sit out there for 6 hours. So
yeah, I couldn't imagine. Also, it was just, there was so much chaos, and the potential for real chaos was always there. First of all, you have the ellipse. So the ellipse has what, 85,000 people outside.
Correct. That's right.
And for people that are watching at home, like we could hear.
Valhalla VFT with a big super chat. Thank you, brother. We've tried to raid you 2 nights in a row. Bayes hates me, chat. No, I don't. And it's funny too. I had my stream set up, but like, dude, I tell you, I appreciate the love, but I'm never like gonna go out of my way for the piggyback. I'm like, oh, maybe he'll notice, you know, maybe not, whatever. Thank you so much. Listen, I will be live tomorrow. I know you're starting at 8 p.m. my time. I know you said you're doing a deep dive. I'm going to schedule mine for like 11 p.m. Eastern time. You want to hit me with a raid? I'll be ready. I won't sleep again. I promise. Thank you. Yo, guys, Valhalla's the man. Fucking love that guy. Thank you so much. Danny, $5. Bayes, are you always up at this time? 2 nights in a row. Love to see a fellow graveyarder by choice. How does your wife feel about it? My hub says I'm nuts. My wife absolutely hates it. And she makes it a point to wake me up at like 8 in the morning every day. I mean, I do have a 1-year-old at home, so I have my fatherly duties. So when I'm needed or when I gotta spend time with not when I gotta spend time with the baby, but when I have to give my wife her me time and take care of the baby, I try my best to wake up early, which is why I like and take advantage of my naps. And Tuesday night, I just so happened to nap when I was supposed to be live, which is not the first time that that has happened.
Hear them.
Yes.
Like when the fights, when something would happen.
In like kind of a delayed way, right? Yeah, yeah.
You'd hear the cheers from the people that were near. So it was like 3,000 plus people tightly close to the octagon. And then you had 85,000 people in the, in the background. It was very eerie.
Yeah. I actually loved that. Like I loved the delay reaction to where, you know, somebody get a good punch in or, you know, you get a takedown. And then it was almost like the wave.
Guys, I hate to break it to you. I don't think they're going to be debating whether or not Michelle Obama is really a man. I don't think they're going to be talking about Sean Strickland. And I definitely don't think that they're going to talk about those DMs between Daniel Cormier and Eric Trump. So maybe we should maybe we should get to the next part. Hold on. Let's see. I didn't watch this whole thing. I analyzed the transcript. Conor McGregor injury, fighter stoppages, his knee giving out. Actually, you know what? Let's skip to that. Maybe, you know, because there is some speculation there as to whether or not McGregor was already injured. Let's see if they'll touch on that. Maybe that will get a little spicy. Where is that? 5 minutes in? Hold on. We're almost there. We're gonna skip this minute though. Not that I'm gonna do a short show, but I don't know how long I can actually listen to fucking JD Vance.
Single fight was a knockout.
So the last fight, when did you realize that was over?
With Conor?
Yeah.
When he fell down a second time, I was like, oh, this is not good. For the first time, I thought he just slipped.
Anne Marie, again, $5. Thank you very much. Bays, love you, buddy, but I'm going to correct you. I get a giggle every when you say it. LOL. It's wait, crochet. Isn't that what I said? I didn't say that. That's how you say it. That's how you say crochet. I thought that's what I said. All right. Duly corrected. Am I saying it right? Crochet, right? All right. I won't get that wrong again. I'll try. Danny, $5. Okay, wait, but I'm 9 weeks pregnant and I'm like this. It will be perfect shifts for us. He effing hates it. Haha. Any advice? Greatly appreciated. Advice for what? Advice for what? The sleep schedule? I don't know. You know, I used to think the same thing, that it is perfect shifts, you know, because at night when, you know, the baby needs a bottle or something, I normally get right to it unless I'm live and I'm not looking at my phone. And then I look and I've got 9 missed calls and then it's usually a rough morning. So communication is key. Communication is key. Just make sure that you're there to spend time for your partner as well, of course. And I don't know. I haven't been winning the battles when it comes to my sleep schedule. So I'm probably not the right person to get that type of advice from. Just saying.
It's hard to tell. It's wild. It's in the moment. I thought he slipped. And then when he got up and he threw a kick again, I'm like, oh, I don't like how his leg just gave out. That didn't seem like, I'm still hoping he's just slipping.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he's just.
Is that how tonight's going to go? I'm just going to be sitting here getting paid to learn how to pronounce things better. Listen, if that's what you guys want to do, you know, I'm for it. All right. Ozzy for Aussies, $3. Thank you very much. It's pronounced Ozzy for Aussies, not Aussie. Okay. Now I know. I do have a pretty decent memory. So you're probably not going to have to pay me more than once to get these things right. All right. So that's the good news.
Freaking out because he hasn't been in the octagon in 5 years. And then he started moving around and he like grabbed his knee and buckled.
Okay.
And there was some conversation.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, there was some conversation going on between him and Max Holloway. And I was like, you know, Max is saying he can't fight, like something's wrong. And he's saying, fight me. He's like, get up. And so he lets him up and then his knee buckles. And then the referee stops the fight.
Oh man, I got to stop this real quick because now it's reminding me something that's been on my mind. So the other night, I'm not even going to say the person's name because they watch my content, and I'm not trying to shame anybody. But the other night there was somebody that was mispronouncing a word. And they were talking about the person that's allegedly Tyler Robinson on the roof. And you know how he was laying in the prone position, but they kept saying the prune position. And the first time it went over my head, I'm like, wait, did they say prune? And then I saw the comments that they're like prone. So then they said it the second time, and I'm like, all right, maybe I should correct them, maybe not. And I didn't do it. And then after that, I'm reading the chat, and this person must have said it like 19 times. And I'm like, fuck, what do I do? Like, it's too late. The ship sailed. After they say it the third time, if I don't correct them, it's like, I just got to go along with it. I was like this close to like starting to say it myself, like he's laying in the prune position. And then like just totally throwing the chat off. But I didn't know what to do. I still don't, because they're still commenting about it in the video. I don't know. I thought you guys would get a laugh out of that, especially if you watched it and you know what I'm talking about. Which you seeing who's in the chat. I know some of you have. Some of you might have been the one that was, saying it's prone, not prune. But, since we're correcting my pronunciation of certain words anyway, it popped in my head and I just felt like sharing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's always so the very, I think it was the very last fight where the ref tried to call it at the end of the third round. And then because he was saying that there was a concussion issue. I mean, I couldn't tell what was going on.
This is the Ilya Taporia fight, the Justin Gaethje fight at the White House.
The Taporia Justin Gaethje fight.
No, he couldn't see.
Okay,
he was saying he couldn't see well. Something was wrong with his right eye.
Well, I mean, it looks like his whole face was puffed up, so he couldn't see anything. But okay,
man, they're not even talking about the Conor thing. They're like playing it really safe. What the hell is going on? Like, they're not talking about how there was like allegedly somebody filming Conor McGregor going into a pain clinic not long before the fight. Like, they're just going to be like, oh, yeah, when did you think he was hurt? Oh, I saw that second kick. And I'm like, oh, that's not good. Keep it moving. Like, really? Oh, wait. Hold on. They are going to talk about the Obama thing. All right. We're getting somewhere. We're going to get a little controversy. They're not going to be playing it too safe.
That I just could not believe that dude held out for like 30 seconds with his
was
arm
that
in
more
position.
Shocking, or when he said Michelle Obama is a man? Which one was more shocking?
Definitely the armbar part. Man, I work in politics.
Wow.
People say crazy stuff all the time.
Well, he
He's
says
got
that
jokes.
every fight.
Does he?
Yeah. He said that
that
the last time I interviewed him.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Well, he's like a pro wrestling character. Like,
people lost their minds about it.
I know.
Lost their minds about it to the point where, again, I had The View either the next day or the day after to sort of promote this book.
That must be fun.
It was crazy. It was harder than anything I've done in politics. But the to the point where all of my
man, if JD Vance thinks that people were losing their minds over a Michelle Obama joke, what analogy, what does he think the people are thinking about this new legislation trying to merge our military and intelligence with our not so greatest ally? Right? we're losing our minds. People are losing their minds over a joke. But what about what's going on with the Charlie Kirk case? What about the Big E files? What about Trump trying to, come out and just keep pointing the finger at China, like China is the cause for all of our problems? We got another big super chat. Living Life Joe, $50. Thank you very much. Bays, love catching your late night lives. Hubs is also loving the sweats and t-shirt merch. Joe from Indianapolis. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, I got more merch coming. I got new stuff coming. I'm gonna get all that ready and start plugging that in a bit. Also, there were a couple people that were waiting on some stuff, and that stuff is out, so you should be getting it very soon. Thank you very much. I appreciate everything, you guys. You guys are the best.
people, the thing they were most worried about was they're going to ask you about Michelle Obama being called a man. Like, what are you going to say about it? And I was like, what an amped up fighter told a joke after a fight, said something after a fight, and that's actually national news. I'm still surprised. I've been in politics now for 3-4 years. I'm still shocked the shit that people get really fired up about.
Well, I kind of understand it because it's at the White House. First of all, a cage fight at the White House is crazy already. I mean, if he said Michelle Obama's a man at the T-Mobile Arena in Vegas, it's like, okay,
it's less of a story.
What he is he's a very good fighter. First of all,
we got Allie Top Files in the chat. Thank you for showing up. If you guys are members, Allie Top Files was actually a guest on my members only live last night, and that was pretty fun. I'm going to be doing more collabs with her in the near future as well. Shout out to Allie. Thank you so much.
But sometimes it's not enough to get attention. And so what Josh has done is created this persona, like this pro wrestling bad guy persona. When you talk to him off stage, he's like very normal, very smart guy.
Yeah.
It's just like he's decided, like, look, I want to maximize the amount of eyeballs that see me, and I'm going to create this crazy persona. He comes out to the Hulk Hogan song, I'm a real American.
That's right.
He has sunglasses on, an American flag bandana. It's, he's
I mean, I love the presentation. I love the presentation, but again, I like
not the best thing to say at the White House. Michelle Obama's a man is not the best thing to say.
Fair, but the reaction to it to me was still totally disproportionate.
Yeah, of course.
People say stuff all the time, and
Valhalla $50 again, bro. You're spoiling me. VFT base stream chat, buddy. You want me to send you a link? You want to come on right now? I know you're a couple hours behind. If you still got some gas in the tank and you want to hop on here, I would love to shoot the shit. You just let me know. We got Danny, $10. My husband works for New York Jets. You know what a team to be with. LOL. He's MIA come next month. So all hell graveyarding when the world is quiet and the possibilities are endless. Wow, he works for the Jets. That's got to be a fun job, though. That's got to be a fun team to work for. I mean, look, at least he doesn't have to work the full season. I mean, they rarely make the playoffs, so you get an extra couple of months with them, right? That's got to be good.
I work in a business where obviously people make life and death decisions all the time, and I'm always a little bit caught off guard by the culture that just overreacts when clearly the thing that Josh is trying to get is the overreaction in the first place.
Right.
So you give him exactly what he wants. And like the worst you could say is, oh, that was an offensive comment, and you get on with the rest of your life. Like that's the worst that you could say. The people who really flip out about it and kind of lose their minds, I don't understand that.
Well, first of all, I think a lot of it is there is an economy that is essentially based on getting reactions.
Correct.
And there's a lot of people that are just, for a lack of a better term, they're not real. Their reactions are performative. Like a lot of what they're doing is just trying to comment on things and get clicks and likes and views. And social media has ruined discourse.
Let's go. Valhalla says he's coming. This should be good. This is a nice surprise. I've been wanting to stream with Valhalla for I've streamed with them a couple times in the group chat, in the group streams, but I've wanted to get a one-on-one. But like I said, I've been trying to earn my stripes and build up my channel the old-fashioned difficult way. Keats, $5 for the little bays in there. Wait, be sure to like and share Light Squad. Thank you very much. All right, I just sent Nate the link on IG. This should be good. I'm looking forward to this.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah,
because people...
It has.
You guys are in for a treat tonight. This was a pop-up live. I didn't even tell anybody I was going to do this until like a half hour before. And like I said, I had a nice nap in. I am fresh. I am ready to go. You guys are giving me an extra boost of energy with all this generosity. Now we got Nate coming on. Let's fucking go. I can't wait to hear what he has to say about this interview too, because oh my God, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I went over the transcript and I'm just like, yo, like they are just running cover. Like they're just trying to like set up JD. And it's like, it's crazy. What they're trying to like get away with and pull over our eyes. It's insane. Danny, $5. Nope. He gets off SCN. No days off. He's one of the PT docs. Anyway, Valhalla, let's go. Love to see it. Oh man. Yeah, give him a minute. He'll be here. Wait, what is this? Why is
people are not having like real conversations about things? They're reacting to things on Instagram and Twitter.
Yes.
And You know, they're just they look at an opportunity like that, like, oh, I found a gold nugget. You know, like this is going to give me money, or this is going to give me attention. This is going to give, oh, I can't wait to have a take on that.
Well, that's exactly right. So, but okay. So my response to that is so many things is like, oh, he was being funny. He was being outrageous. And I just move on with my life. What I find very interesting is the people who say, you know, oh, that was a joke. Like when Kill Tony, do you remember he told like the joke heard around the world in Madison Square Garden during the 2024 election. I remember getting into an argument with somebody about this, and I may have even been like in an interview, but I don't remember. It could have been private too. Anyway, I'm like, he told a joke. And then the person's response is, well, it's not a very funny joke. And my response to that is, you know what happens when somebody tells me a joke that's not funny? I don't laugh, and then I move on with my life. This whole industry around outrage, especially getting outraged around humor, I think is actually really hurting the country.
Well, in that case, first of all, I told Tony a long time ago that joke was going to get him stabbed. I really did. He even jokes around about it on stage. He talks about me telling him, that's the one, dude.
New member, Renee loves pink. Oh, Renee loves pink. Yo, forgive me. I'm retarded. I don't know. What can I say? What can I tell you guys? I'm a little giddy right now. Don't worry. You will not have to send me a super to get me to pronounce that one right. I got it on my own. It just took me a second.
That's the one that's going to get you stabbed.
Any good joke, at least, is going to run you some risk of getting
certainly a racial joke.
I wish I could say I did that one on purpose. That would have been clever.
By the way, no one takes a joke better than Puerto Ricans. Puerto Ricans are some of the best people at telling jokes. Like it is a culture of joking and fucking around with each other and talking shit.
Absolutely.
Like they're great at it. So like they love him
some
still.
Puerto Rican guys in the Marine Corps, man. That's absolutely true.
They love him still.
Yes.
You know, like even after that joke.
Yeah. Well, you advised him not to tell that joke?
Well, I was kind of half joking. You know, Tony, that's what Tony does. You know what? I just said that's the one that's going to get you stabbed.
You know, I'm so happy that JD Vance has such a great personality and he's so good with jokes. So, you know, hopefully he doesn't get too mad when I say that, you know, him and Erica Kirk are the MK Ultra Nepo baby spawn of Michael Aquino, because I'm only joking when I say these things. So since he has a good sense of humor and he seems to be cool with the joke, I'm sure he won't mind at all when I call him an MK Ultra Nepo baby, or, you know, when I say that him and Erica Kirk are twins, or allegedly, possibly, I don't know.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what Tony does. Tony is like the Josh Hokett of comedy. Like he but very talented. You know, he's a really good, he's a roaster.
So yes.
Like roasting is his specialty, but it's also like he's trying to ruffle people's feathers. That's what he wants to do.
Yep.
He wants to piss people off. He likes being a pro wrestling heel.
Yeah.
He's a huge pro wrestling fan.
So Tony, I'm a huge fan of his comedy. I've only, met him a couple times. I don't know him particularly well, but he's actually like, more political, I would say, than most comedians. Do you think that's fair? Okay.
Yes.
So,
very supportive of like Trump.
Like he's on the Republican team.
Yes,
he's on the Republican 100%.
team. So it's because he's experienced so many loony left-wing people in California. And that's why he had to move.
Well, somebody sent me a clip. I think it was Shane Gillis at a roast where the joke was they were roasting Tony. And they're like, Tony Hinchcliffe is the only dude who would be excited if JD Vance was here. And I was like, one, that's a very good joke. And number two, I feel like I had made it. Like there have been a few moments where I feel like I've made it. When
Notice that he like laughed at his own joke like really, really hard. And Joe Rogan didn't even flinch. Like he heard nothing from him. Although it probably would have been worse for both of them if Joe would have tried to like bust out like some fake laugh, acting like it was funny, like to try to make him feel better or kiss his ass. I actually don't know what's worse in that situation. Chat, what do you guys think?
Vice President of the United States. Yeah, I think you made it.
When South Park spoofed me, I felt it more than when I got it sworn in as Vice President of the United States.
That's hilarious. That's very funny. This episode is brought to you by the Farmer's Dog.
Right.
Big one for me.
And why not just have mail-in? Or why not just have voter ID?
Yeah.
You
well,
actually
that's
saw
insane. Not
you-
only did they not have voter ID,
Yeah.
you can't show your ID. You're not
Correct.
allowed to show your
you
ID.
can in fact be like prosecuted if you try to force somebody to show their
Which
ID.
is that
Yeah.
seems like you want people to cheat.
Exactly. Yeah.
And this is from the same
Let's move it up a little
that
bit.
kind of
Oh, we got another big super chat, $50. Thank you very much from Freedom Sherry. Spending some of my inheritance money tonight. It wasn't much, and it happened a long time ago. Oh, that sucks, though. I'm sorry for your loss. No hate from me at Based Bays. I will always call you that because of the first time I watched you. Valhalla, let's go, brother. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you. And speaking of, hold on, I'm just going to remove this for a little bit. Hold on. Welcome, Valhalla, ladies and gentlemen.
Huh.
Too soon. I was supposed to wait for a cue.
No, you're good. What's up, brother? What's up?
What's
chat?
going on? Thanks for
I,
popping up. I know you just did
oh,
like
hell yeah,
4
man.
hours.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't even. I mean, I don't stream at all on. What are we on? Some Thursday,
Yeah.
right? We're on Thursday, right? But and then JD delay messaged me earlier and was like, "You want to stream the thing, the Trump speech?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then we just got done, and then jumped in to watch your channel. And guys, I can't stay long because I'm exhausted. But I think we like me and Bays. We are going to do dedicated live stream. This isn't.
Yes,
I don't want this to be like a 10-minute. We did this. No.
No. Yeah, I know that too. We were talking about that the other day. But yeah, I was actually going to start earlier, and then I was on. I'm like, Nate's on with JD.
Well,
and
also,
I was just watching you.
My Tuesday show, we had like 6,000 people, and I'm like, at the end of the stream, I'm like, all right, like Bays is live, so I'm like pulling up Bays' channel in front of my stream, like we're gonna go raid Bays. We're gonna go raid Bays, and then I'm like, Bays isn't online. I thought we.
I know, Stacy. I woke up. I had a bunch of messages from Stacy.
I thought we got
you?
like 6,000 people that I want to send to go watch Bays, but he's just not here. So,
dude, I was so burnt out from everything that happened. I mean, you know, like we had the whole preliminary hearings, and even though I wasn't putting in the hours with you with that, I had a lot going on. You know, my father had a stroke a couple months ago, and he was staying with me that week, and he was having issues, and my daughter was in the hospital, and then my girl had to get a procedure done. It was like everything went on all at once. And then Tuesday was just the day that I crashed. I slept like literally 15 hours. Nobody heard from me. Yeah,
you're good, man. But I was like, I swear didn't I talk to Bays about? I'm like, hey, go live at this time on Tuesday, and we'll raid you. And then when we went to do it,
I had to cancel Elizabeth Lane.
Brother, man.
Well, I feel bad because of Elizabeth Lane. I had to cancel on her for like the 4th time.
Oh well, Liz is great.
No,
me and Liz are actually live streaming Sunday. We're doing a live stream Sunday at 5 p.m. So
that's awesome.
She's awesome, man. I just met Liz through you guys in the last couple of days, and we've been talking about a lot of stuff. She's awesome, man. But yeah, what are we talking about here? We're going over the. This is actually interesting. Have you talked about like JD? Is this is America first? He's the savior pivot. Is that what this?
Oh yeah, 100%.
This is the soft launch.
100%. It was so funny because that's what I was going to stream about. And then I saw you and JD talking about it. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, it's like exactly what I'm thinking. No. But Trump being the Trojan horse and getting him in and him acting like, yeah, don't worry, guys. I'm America first. You know, all of a sudden he gets in and it's like, boom, Palantir.
Dude,
you know, the merger's official.
Bro, so me and JD, like, this was like 5 months ago. JD messaged me. He's like, hey, man, let me pitch something to you. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, do you think Donald Trump is just a Trojan horse for JD Vance? And I'm like, that's interesting. And then he kind of explained it in that way of like, he's like, dude, I think he's going to pivot to be like this America first savior, anti-Israel. And then he's going to show up to like, maybe Trump gets impeached and JD Vance comes in as the savior and he goes full America first. And America's like, this is amazing. And then he gets elected in 2028 because also, this is, I don't think people really think about this. If, let's say, Trump were to get impeached, have to step down for health reasons, and JD Vance becomes Mr. President in the 2028 election, he doesn't have to go through a primary system. He doesn't have to run against Marco Rubio. He doesn't have to run against Thomas Massey. He is the incumbent candidate, right? And so he bypasses all of these potentials that will, like for small tech, Palantir, that will potentially like fuck that up. And then he just automatically goes, and then he wins, and then the Trojan horse comes in, and we get the full surveillance state, Palantir, small tech, all of it. You know what I mean?
And he's
What's your thoughts on that?
He's not going to play it off like Kamala either. Remember when Biden had to step down and Kamala was like they were giving her the opportunities to like differentiate herself from Biden, and she was like still sticking up for all Biden's policies.
Right.
I think something's going to happen. The lower Trump goes in the polls, the easier it's going to be for JD to win, because he's going to throw Trump under the bus and say, he went too far with this. He went too far with Israel. We are America first. Now's the time. It's going to draw all the swing voters.
He screwed up the Epstein files. The motherfucker just said it.
Yeah, screwed up the files, screwed up with the war in Iran. I was against it the whole time.
Yeah,
and then, boom,
dude.
He's going to have everybody bent over, and then boom, no lube. It's going to be 2016 all over again, except
dude, I'm 100% with you. That's exactly what I think is being set up right now. Just like it's too convenient, and also Joe Rogan, like, you know what I mean?
Listen,
like
you've been more critical than Rogan than I have. I've because I grew up a big Rogan fan, and
I'm really not critical of RealBayes. I'm really not
everybody should be. Guy. No, I'm not saying anti-Rogan, but everybody, like, this interview alone is enough for me to be very critical. It's like the fact, like I don't know if you caught the very beginning, but when they talk about UFC. And they're like, oh, it was so wild. Yeah, it was so crazy. Well, what was so crazy about it? It's like, oh, well, I'd go to work and I look out the window. I see the construction. And then Rogan's like, yeah, but what about the weather? It's like, really? That's what's crazy? Like, what about Sean Strickland getting rolled out in cuffs? What about the guy? They ended up saying the Michelle Obama line. They did bring that up. But what about the Daniel Cormier releasing the text messages about Eric Trump? Like, is there any no mention of this stuff? It's like, no, we're going to talk about the construction and the weather.
Dude, well, and to my point, I'm not saying I haven't been critical of Rogan. I have, like, I think in the video I did on Theo Von, where like that interview where he got, like, Joe Rogan got super weird and was like telling Theo Von, you need to get on fucking SSRIs because you're so crazy because you think all the stuff about Israel. And it was like, I think all of us were like, whoa, like what's going on here, Joe? Did you just call Theo Von crazy because he's like questioning genocide? And so that was like, for me, the moment of, I was behind my audience. My audience has been like anti Joe way before me. And but that interview with Theo, I was like, whoa, what the fuck is going on with this guy?
Well, Joe also has a history of being critical and giving his friends constructive criticism in the past. I mean, he did it with what's that UFC fighter's name? Brandon Schwab, when he was telling him like, retire. It's so he's done that in the past. What really rubbed me the wrong way was he did an interview after that where he started putting Theo Von's business out. I think you made a video about this.
Yes.
And he was telling someone like, people are worried he might off himself. It's like, like that's when it's like, that's kind of fucked up.
That's what I meant by that, where I was like, whoa, I thought this dude was one of your friends and now you're calling him crazy and you're worried about. And you're right, it was a follow-on interview where he was like, that's what I did the big episode on. It wasn't their actual interview, but like you said, I forget who he's talking to, where he was like,
I don't remember.
Oh yeah, well, the audience, and he thought he was gonna fucking kill himself and all this, and I was like, whoa.
That really rubbed me the wrong way. I was disappointed about that. But again, like, these guys, they get that big money. They get to that high level. You go into the White House dinners. He's close with Dana White, who's like one of Trump's best friends. Like, he's definitely in an awkward situation. And the fact that he does, I mean, I don't know if it's still the number one platform, but for a long time, it certainly
not anymore. No,
but for a while,
he's number 3, I think, maybe. So I mean.
But you have to know, like, when you talk about, like, Operation Mockingbird type individuals, like, they're probably pounding on his door every other day. You know what I mean? So he's in it. So I feel like he's gotta, like, I understand that aspect, that he's got to walk kind of a fine line, but like interviews like this, it's like, come on. And the thing is, when they were talking about Epstein, which, you know, I'm going to get to a little later, he does give JD some pushback, and JD does look a little uncomfortable, but I don't want to say that it comes off like really staged, but it's definitely a little WWE. Like, I feel like there was a little conversation beforehand. Like, yeah, we're going to get into that.
Here's what I'll say, because I agree with you. I noticed that as soon as I saw that in my brain immediately, because I thought, like, for us, this is what we do. So I'm like, what would I have said back when he was like, well, we might have mishandled the files? My very first response would have been like, okay, well, you can release the rest of them and unredact everything literally right fucking now, because you're in control, right? That's what I would have said as Joe Rogan, because it would have been like, hey, you're the vice president. You're in control. Oh, you thought you did a bad job? Well, guess what? Unredact all of them, release all of them right fucking now.
They're breaking the law by not doing it already. Like, wasn't legislation passed? It was all supposed to come out. And then he's sitting there letting it pass, like saying, oh, well, we had to protect the victims. It's like, just saying, the victims got doxxed. The victims got doxxed.
Just the interview. If between Joe and JD, when JD says, yeah, well, we didn't do a good job and we didn't handle it well, immediately my response face to face, okay, well, you can fix it right now. You personally can fix this. Tell my audience, tell the world, I will go back and I will get the files unredacted and I will release the next 3 million files that we have not released. I will do that for you because I want to fix this problem. That is the appropriate conversation if me or you are interviewing him. But when Joe Rogan is interviewing him, it's what? Oh,
yeah, he totally. I don't even want to say that he completely botched it, but like it felt like he was running cover for JD, that he was like helping him set up, and
of course he was.
This was all PR, and I'm actually kind of like surprised and disappointed that JD Vance even started this interview with plugging a book. It's like, it gave me some serious Josh Hammer vibes, if you know what I mean. It's like, really? You're going to go right with the book? You're not even going to wait till the end of the interview to bring it up? You're going to come out swinging like, yeah, so I started my book tour. You know what I mean? It's like, like, you're not even going to try?
Right. It's just right in your face. Like, hey, by the way, here's my fucking book before we start this. Please buy it.
No. I think it went construction, weather, and then the book.
Okay. He got 6 minutes into the interview before the book.
Yeah, just fade all the important topics. And then just like once you finally get to Epstein, look a little uncomfortable and then do the best you can to spin it and just keep throwing Pam Bondi under the bus. Like we didn't all see that coming anyway. Well, the problem was it was Pam Bondi. Like she oversold it. Yeah, it's like and then they reference the client list. It's like, okay, like, well, why doesn't Joe say, yeah, but it wasn't just a client list. Like, didn't she also say that she had 10,000 hours of footage of different people with young kids? Like, what about all those people? You're not going to arrest any of them.
Nope.
You know what I mean? It's like people are just too smart for this nowadays.
Well, but I mean, are they? We are, the community here is, people ingesting independent media definitely are, but is the general populace that's like watching CNN and Fox News, are they actually that smart to see through it? Or is this, I don't know, Bays, like I think about this. I remember I was talking to JD about this, and chat, don't judge me, but we're honest around here. Cause he asked me, he's like, did you ever support Trump as a Republican? And, I used to be a far right Republican, conservative independent now. And I was like, no, I never really liked him. I never voted for him. But like, there was a time that I sort of thought his policies are okay. And I was honest. I was like, the reason why, even back then, I didn't like Trump. I was like, in 2015, I was a Ted Cruz guy.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that you said that. I'm not going to lie.
Well, but this is 11.
A lot of people were.
This is 11 years ago, right? But we're honest here, Bays, right?
At least you weren't a Marco Rubio guy. I
wasn't. No, I did. Yeah, I actually didn't like. But you know what I mean? It's like you go back that far, and you're like, okay, where we come from, where do we go here? But like, even I was fucking all the way over here. But now it's just kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's because we pay attention, but it's like I feel like most people have like figured this out, but maybe they haven't. You know what I mean? Maybe it's just because we're doing this and we're invested and we're, you know, really attuned to what's going on that like we're paying attention. But it's like my point is back in 2015, I wasn't fucking paying attention because I like Ted Cruz. I was a fucking retard. That's my point. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
was
back
I'm
then-
not gonna lie. I was on the Trump train the whole time, but I didn't start because I supported Trump or I thought Trump was gonna be the guy. I was anti-Hillary. And you know why I was
Okay.
anti-Hillary? Because I knew about their ties to Epstein and I was afraid. I knew that they were going to be in Wall Street's pocket. And I felt like
Yeah.
if Hillary won, then it was going to be like everything that happened in Benghazi, all these Middle Eastern wars that we saw through the Bush administration and the Obama administration, that she was just going to double down and it was going to be a war with Iran and possibly other countries. So
I think that's-
everything
I think-
Trump
yeah.
is doing now is the reasons why I was against Hillary 11 years ago.
I was just going to say, I do think it's very likely we would be in the same position now under 8 years of Hillary. But you're right. Like, that's why most of us didn't like Hillary, was for the reasons. And now, current 2026, Donald Trump is what Hillary would have been in 2026.
And that's why so many people don't think that they're starting to lose faith in our system, in our elections. And it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, on the local level with certain issues, when it comes to gay rights and immigration and abortion, like those matters, like those issues, it's still going to matter. You know, but when you look at the grand scheme of things, when you're talking about big pharma and our healthcare system, and you're looking at Wall Street sucking us all dry, and you're looking at mass surveillance and the wars overseas and inflation, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because the people that are pulling their strings, they're playing both sides. They're filling up both pockets, and they're going to get what they want. They always have. And until something, you know, until the public like really wakes up and starts to speak up and get involved in their politics on the local level, then it's never going to change. And we had that conversation before too. I'm like, Nate, come on, you don't want to run for office?
No, we talked about that. Chat, should I tell them why? I think, didn't I tell the story of why I was like, fuck politics?
Yes.
So I told Bayes this story because I know Bayes is, you know, you're like me, where you want to make a difference, and local politics is great, but as your social media presence will like grow, you realize, okay, maybe I have more influence as I get bigger. But guys, right after I retired, because I only retired out of the military about 2.5 years ago, right after I retired, moved back to Oregon. My dad retired Green Beret, but also was high-level politician in Oregon, Republican Party, doesn't matter. And so I was like, maybe I'm going to be interested in politics. Maybe I could run. And so right after I retired, my dad set me up to meet with the big money donors, the donor class in Oregon. Had a sit down meeting. And guys, within 40 minutes of that meeting, I realized I went from I'm going to probably run for Congress to I will never be in politics in my entire life. And the reason why is, at the first, it was kind of like you sit down, you're meeting each other. And then I realized they liked me. They liked my resume, retired Green Beret, Valor Award winner, all this crazy shit, Republican Party, all the stupid dumb stamps that they love, right? And I could tell they liked me right away. And then it's the second I realized they wanted me to be the candidate, they were like, okay, so here's how it works. Well, you know, the previous candidate in this district, he's a Republican. We put him into power, but now he won't vote this way on this bill for this timber industry thing. So what we need you to do, you need to vote this way, this way, this way, and this way on these bills. And we're going to put you in power, and then we're going to remove him, primary him. He'll have no chance. We'll fund you. And I was like, all of that just like blown in my face. And I was like, whoa. I thought we were just like meeting each other, and they were already telling me exactly what bills I was going to vote on and which way I would vote on them and how I would do this. And if I didn't do this, and I was just like, holy shit, this is how this works. Like, and they were like, they wanted to use me to oust the Republican that they had put in power right before that, who wasn't voting the way that they told him to vote. And I was like, holy shit, this is how this works. Like,
yeah, they were going to prop you up to railroad the other guy that probably would have done what you would have done.
Exactly. And so to get that money, because you need millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to run a campaign, if they'll put you in power, and then if you decide you want to have your own mind and like, I don't really like this bill. Actually, this timber bill doesn't really work. No. The second you delineate from that, they're like, nope, you're fucking gone. And they cut off all that money and they primary your ass and they put somebody else in power and get rid of you. I mean, it's like before I was even like interested, like, hey, yeah, maybe let's do this. They were already like, you're going to vote this on this. This is how this all works. And then it was funny. And it was just like, whoa, fuck this. And that was just a local level. Like, well, it would have been for a congressional seat. But my point is, like, that's how it is for all of them. If you want that, if you want to run, you need that money. And if you don't do what you told, that money printer, it shuts off. You know,
now,
so.
Knowing that and experiencing that, just think about this for a second. Knowing how the system works and how crucial that money is. Now that more and more people are waking up and starting to speak up and wanting to get involved, don't you think that the people in power have incentives to keep the economy in a certain spot? Like they don't want, like, because think about it. If the economy gets too good, where people get too comfortable, well, all of a sudden, every day, like, the middle class starts to have some money to, start playing around and investing and maybe having their own version of APAC, where they start getting thousands of people together that are all going to shell out to get their own representation. All of a sudden, that's a problem. So it's better for the system to keep us struggling, keep us broke, have us having to work more hours, more time working, feeding the machine, less time being able to know what's going on, more stress to keep us from thinking clearly on how to get out of the situation that we're in. And, like the system, it really is like they use our economy. They manufacture economic crisis, not just to keep themselves rich and more comfortable. Because think about it, they already have what they need, but it's to stabilize us and neutralize us and keep us and from doing what we can do to get out of this situation and make real change.
This is kind of it's like a caveat, maybe a pivot. And I feel like it's going to tie together here with what you're saying, right? So, do I even want to talk about this? This is like a weird thing, military wise, that I don't really know if I. Whatever. We
can talk about that off stream if you want.
No. It's not like, it's nothing crazy, but just like thought process wise, because how you're explaining of like manipulating the masses, using economic systems to control people, right? I've always kind of like wondered, for if you are retired out of the military, retired Green Berets, there's a lot of us, right? The amount of financial backing that they give us through disability, retirement, all these things, you never have to work another day in your life, right? And I feel like a lot of the reason why they have set the system up that way for all of the people who could potentially lead an uprising to stop a tyrannical government is to keep all of us sort of placated, right? Where it's like,
keep you content, keep you comfortable,
keep us content. The most dangerous fucking men in this country, who the military spent tens of millions of dollars training us to do things, that, potentially, if you needed to, revolutionary wire. We don't need to talk about it on your YouTube channel because we don't want to cause any problems. But you know what I'm saying? Like, all the most dangerous men in America that could potentially stop a tyrannical government, you keep them very well comfortable and very well satiated, to where when things get very, very sort of, sketchy or effed up in modern society and the government and all the tyrannical things we're seeing, that demographic goes, the one demographic you're worried about maybe standing up to this, well, you're keeping them very comfortable. It's where they're like, I know this is really shitty, but I'm doing pretty well under the system. And that's, you know what I mean? That also ties into the way we economically manipulate, or the government manipulates to keep in, you know what I mean? Is this crazy?
No. I totally understand. I don't know if I ever told you this. Obviously, I never served, but my girl did. She served for 12 years. She did a couple of tours. And so like, I kind of have a better understanding of like how the system works than like the average American. And if you think about what the number one issue for young Americans is right now, it's this idea that they're never going to be able to own a home.
Yes.
But when you're a veteran, like they give you like a line of credit. You get that GI bill,
do
and
you
your
want,
benefits.
No,
are gonna,
whoa. You want me to explain how this works?
Yeah. It's better to come from you. Yeah.
Let me tell you about this, because Bayes brings up an amazing point right here. I bought my first home, okay, with about $1,200 in my bank account. And people are going to hear that and be like, oh, down payment, this, and this. No, because to Bayes' point, we have what's called VA home loan program. What that is a zero money down mortgage, as in, I don't need any money. I don't have to have a single goddamn dollar to put forward and to buy this home. But if I'm active duty, right, which is when I bought my first home, I was active duty. I also got what's called BAH, Basic Housing and Allowance, which paid my mortgage, which was based off of the, which is what you have to have in the military, right? This is a good thing. But they pay for your mortgage or your rent or whatever it is, wherever you're living. Well, it's based off of the, whatever the going rate of a home is there, right? So as somebody who had no money in my bank account, active duty, I was able to buy my first home in 2016 for $300,000 with no money down, no nothing. And the fact that I was active duty and I could get that loan, they're like, here you go, and you're good to go. So that's why I also encourage young men, even if you regardless of how you feel about the military, there's a lot of benefits. But to my point, Bayes, this is the system of how that works.
And this is also a reason why America really is great. It is a great country. Like if you understand the game, like people have so many more opportunities and so many more paths to success than they realize. But the problem is that the system has become rigged. Like we like the people the fact that they let foreign influence and foreign money come in and influence our government and affect our constitutional rights, like that's what's fucking everything up. And it's not just that one nation that we're not really supposed to talk about. It's the fact that they all, to some extent, except they just found some loopholes where it's easier for them, but like if the system was working the way that it was meant to, like this really would be the greatest country and we all could have it so much better. But the problem is all these scumbag billionaires and psychopaths that just want more power and more control. And they just want to just basically control everything. It's like they just screw it up for everybody. And it's like, they keep the board set a certain way, like what you said, where the people that do have the skills and the ability and the know-how to rise up and make the change, they make sure that they're just happy enough and just content when they're not going to want to get involved. And then it's like you just keep sicking the poor and the middle class against each other. You got the left giving all these incentives and welfare to the poor, and then it's coming out of the working class, and then they're getting screwed. And instead of them being mad at the billionaires and legislation, they're getting mad at the poor people, which is like insane.
Dude, I forget what the exact quote was, and I saw it not that long ago, but a quote that was like, if you find yourself being angry at an economic class below you for your current condition, you're probably being propagandized. So the point with that, Bayes, is like, if you're a middle class, lower middle class, let's say wherever in America, and you've been convinced that, the Somali community or the, African-American community near you is the reason why you're not doing well, it's like, that is how they use that manipulation, right? So it's like, if you're mad at a socioeconomic class below you, it doesn't even matter race-wise, then you're most likely being propagandized, because where is your real problem coming from? It's not coming from the socioeconomic class below you. It's coming from above you, right? So I think that's kind of what you were talking about there, just as you were saying that. But it's, God, I wish I could remember the quote from that. But yeah.
And that's why I say, like, when you look at it on the surface, and that's why you see like these conservative right influencers, the type of people that act like, all this TPUSA hate, that it's like some Chinese or Russian propaganda. They're trying to take down MAGA.
That's us, man. We're Russian propagandists.
It has nothing to do with, like the messages and the reports that were coming out about Charlie Kirk and his fears just a couple of weeks before he got assassinated, or any of the other lies that everybody got caught in along the way, or the fact that like BB came out and made a statement like the week he died saying it wasn't us. You know what I mean? Like, it's nothing to do with any of that. It's all China, guys. Like, just like tonight with Trump's big speech, it's all China. Like, the CIA was withholding the information of election fraud. And you brought up a good point. It's like, dude, it was the 2020 election. Like, you were the president. That was your CIA. Like, what are
that was you were in charge, dude. Yeah.
Like, just the gaslighting is just insane. But the truth is, like people like me, people like us that do feel like to some extent it's a uniparty, and that you got, you know, these billionaires and the deep state and the bankers and the military industrial complex that just have so much influence on both sides, that it's like what you said with your experience when you were thinking about running. It's like they tell you like what you're gonna vote for. Like, who do you think was writing those bills? Where do you think those where do you think those bills were written
this way? Yeah.
You think those bills are getting written in Washington? I don't. You know what I mean? Like,
dude. No, there's bills when we know this. I've got former teammate buddy. Like, Green Berets end up everywhere, right? I've got friends that work at Goldman Sachs. I've got friends that work in Lockheed Martin. I've got friends that are like doing. It's just like the most eclectic group of stuff. But where was I going with that? Sorry, I got sidetracked. What were we talking about? I'll get back to it.
Well, talking about like a uniparty and how the military-industrial complex has so much influence over Congress, and where the laws really getting written and who writes them.
Exactly. So the military-industrial complex and who writes the bills. So Lockheed Martin, my buddy, I've got a buddy that works for Lockheed Martin. He was like, yeah, we literally will write the policy bills, and then we will deliver them to the congressman that we lobby. And they will then put their name on it and stamp it as if they wrote that bill and put it before Congress. That's literally how the system works.
That's crazy.
And it's just like, they're just like, yep, rubber stamp, got it. I wrote this bill. But actually, my fucking Lockheed Martin lobbyist is the one that wrote that entire bill. And then I just put my name on it as if I wrote it. Like, that's actually how this shit works. You know what I mean?
You just reminded me something else by bringing up Lockheed Martin. You know who else used to work at Lockheed Martin?
Not Tulsi Gabbard.
The alleged Vegas shooter.
Oh, dude, I don't talk about that one, but it's
we don't got to get into it.
no, not that it matters, but it's like YouTube really doesn't like that story, and like anytime YouTube really doesn't like a story, it makes me raise my eyebrows anymore. Like, why does YouTube really like fucking ban people for this story?
Oh, really?
But yeah,
Ian did a whole deep dive. He pulled up the website.
I know.
Get the 911 calls and everything. I was like,
yeah. No, I mean, my own personal opinion, not the official narrative. It turns out. I'll just leave it.
Yeah, we could leave it at that. I wasn't trying to. I wasn't trying to lead into it. Trust me.
I mean, we're on your channel. Right
I know.
Now,
I get in enough trouble. It doesn't seem to matter. Like, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's not, as long as we're like not getting detailed on that story, but yeah.
But anyway, back to this JD Vance and Rogan interview. Like I said, I only watched the Big E portion of it, but I was just reading the transcripts. Do you do that ever when you're studying content? I'm like spilling the tea right now for how I operate.
Like, no, I'm not a AI read the transcripts guy.
It's not even just read the transcripts. Hold on, let me show you how I do this.
Yeah, actually, you might have some good ideas here.
Yeah.
Chat, don't pay attention.
Oh, I tell them. I try to inspire everybody to do their work. I'm very transparent. So what I do is I take the transcript, I load it into ChatGPT, and then I take the link and I load the link for the video. And then I tell it to give me a whole breakdown, break it into chapters with links. And then you click on it, it pops right up. And then what I'll do is I'll do my own research, and I'll cross-reference the transcript to fact check things and cross-reference it with my notes. And then that's like how I find all the bullshit.
Dude, this is way more efficient than me. So what I'll do is
you just click on it, boom, pops right up.
That's actually, yeah. So this is great because what I do, because I'm a boomer and I'm fucking 40 years old. No, I'm not a boomer, obviously. But so I'll try to like figure out if I'm really interested in this interview or topic, which would be this one. I'd say yes. And then I will actually watch it and take notes with this. Look here, chat. With this notepad.
Yeah, I still look at the size. Look at the size of mine.
So yeah, so actually, no, I typically I'm like, all right, now I got to watch this whole thing. So now,
much easier.
You can do that. I might,
much
I might
easier.
not watch anybody's content anymore, chat.
You could listen. How do you think I have so much time to watch all your stuff and other people?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If
I actually I watch nobody's content for the most part. There's like I got like our group. Like I'll tune into your live stream and like Danks and Jesse and everybody, but like I don't have time to do any of this because I'm old and I'm actually like sitting down and watching an entire video. Apparently, if I don't need to do that, might save me a lot of time here.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we could just use AI to not actually have to watch Benny Johnson's fucking dog shit content before I pull like the 3 clips out to make fun of him for being a closet. Well, I'll stop because it's Base's channel. It's not my channel. But anyway, instead of watching all of his content, I can just use AI.
So I'm surprised Ian didn't teach you that little tidbit because I'm pretty sure he does the same thing.
No, he definitely, yeah. You guys are actually doing this. I'm actually taking notes now. So what do you do? Well, let's run that back for what you just said.
I could give you the whole breakdown off stream. Don't worry, I'll give you a whole lesson.
Yeah, all right. Let's not do that. Yeah.
But yeah, no, you just go to the description of the video, copy and paste the transcript, just upload it onto whatever AI you use. And then just go to the link of the video itself and then copy and paste that. And then just tell it to run an analysis and break it into chapters with links and timestamps. And it will give you like a breakdown of what they're talking about. And if you have other files on your computer, you could cross-reference it with the files and find out like what parts are most pertinent to your recent content. Like if you want to do some follow-up content.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing with the Charlie Kirk case.
Hell yeah, dude.
That was why when everybody, I'll spill a little bit more tea. I was talking about this the other day, so I don't care. That's why when everybody got so mad when I did that video with that stream with Gary the other day, and they were like mad that I wasn't more aggressive and that I wasn't like turning it into a slugfest. I'm like, listen, I just want to get his positions on the record. Like it's all going in the transcript. I'll figure it out later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And fact check, see what's what. You know, like just keep it going. The more the better.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I mean, I should know better. You know, it's funny because I'm like, I got this. I don't have it up anymore, but I used to have my master's degree graduation, like business school, master's degree. Awesome. And this was recently, like 2 years ago. And I should know how to use AI. And I don't. So I'm like doing old boomer shit while Baze is apparently 10 years ahead of me. So
it's not that much, but listen, there's so many.
So he said Nate's a millennial. Is that where we're at? Where that's old?
Me and Nate are almost the same age. We're only like
we're old. We're old,
like 2 or 3 years apart. Yeah,
yeah, we're on the old side of millennial too. So,
but yeah, I got all sorts of tricks that I could teach you to improve your workflow, and then you could help me with the editing.
Yeah. See, you put that's what I've definitely gotten super good at. But
yes, that was the first piece of advice that you gave me, and I'm still using.
Dude, I literally, like you guys probably won't even know about this, but Tim Kennedy, I don't know if you know who that is. Anyway, the guy did a bunch of exposure stolen valor content on. Doesn't matter, but like years ago, he like popped back up. Recently, he's trying to make a comeback, and he did this podcast. And instead of all I wanted was like the top 5-6 clips to use to like do an episode on. And I sat down and I'm like, God damn it, I have to watch an hour and 58 minutes of this podcast. I want to blow my brains out before I even sit down and do this. And I sat there in my recliner with my notepad, taking timestamps. And you're telling me I could have just thrown that into ChatGPT and it would have done 2 hours of work with me.
30
30 seconds. And I could have just skipped all of that. Yeah, that's what I'm learning. That's what I'm learning today, bro. I
did the same thing. I did the same thing. You know what I mean? Like,
it's well, I got to get my life together. I feel like a boomer right now.
You're questioning all your life decisions over one life hack.
I want to, dude. I can't. Anyway, hold on. So
I'm sorry I didn't tell you this sooner. I thought I did.
I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is a picture I took because I took a picture of me in my recliner watching this stupid fucking podcast. Can you see? You see my foot in the recliner? This is a little blurry, right? But you can see my foot in the recliner, my TV in the background. There's the podcast, right? I took a picture of that because I was so mad that I had to sit down for 2 hours to watch this shit. And realizing now that I could have just to get the timestamp summary of the goddamn clips that I needed.
Well,
I could have just plugged that shit into ChatGPT and saved. This was 3 days ago, dude. This wasn't years ago. This is like 4 days ago that I was sitting here just fuck. Oh, damn it, dude. Well, I'll never do that again.
Well, Nate,
this was worth it. This tonight was worth it because this could just potentially save me hours of my life day by day with Bays not having to do this. There we go. See, this like God works in mysterious ways, you know.
Well, if it makes you feel better, you know, just remember that all those days, well, not all those days, I was only with you for 2 of them, but those 2 days that I was sitting here with no central air for 9 hours sitting through the stream, that was to share the stage with you guys and to hang out and for the camaraderie. I could have just went downstairs when my AC was working, fucked off, and then just ran the whole transcript and got all caught up right away. But I stuck it out in the blistering heat because I wanted to hang out with the guys and, you know, put in the work.
Dude, you gotta get your central air. You gotta get to the studio, man.
I picked up an AC. I had somebody come and try to fix it. They couldn't fix it. I changed the filter, changed the whatever the shit's called. 2 things starts with a C, and that it's not working. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not an HVAC guy, but yeah, I just picked up 2 ACs. Yeah, because it's only half the house. It's like I got a split level, so you know, like my room, the baby's room's downstairs, and then it's the kids' rooms and the studio that are upstairs. So we got a heavy duty AC that's like cooling the rest of the house. I got a little one in my studio, and we're good. That's it.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm not spending $2,000 to have a guy come in, and you know what I mean,
bro. If you knew about the studio, because my studio, oh my shit, my camera is crazy right now, guys.
I didn't ever notice. You should have seen mine yesterday. Mine was crooked as hell.
Cockeyed as shit. Anyway, yeah. So our podcast studio, it's like a separate building, like not a very big building, but we had to renovate it, and I didn't realize like the whole renovation, like full painting, we put in like everything, right? Walling, drywall, paint, all of this. That cost a certain amount. Doesn't really matter. It was fairly expensive. About like $9,000, okay, to do that. $9,000. So I'll just be transparent. Then I'm like, okay, I can't be, you know, summertime in this. I got to have AC in this place for, you know, if I'm going to be filming in here. So I call HVAC. We get the HVAC out here. And this is to put in like just not like central air. This is just like one of those like small AC units that goes, you know, from your wall inside out to the outside. And we're like, okay, cool. It's not going to. It costs the same goddamn amount.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
The tiny little AC unit to the outside of the house cost the same amount as renovating and putting up everything in the entire studio.
I know, it's insane. I was thinking about getting hi-hats in here, just like for the lighting, get the dimmable lights and maybe get some color stuff, like just make it easy. And then I'm like, you know what? That's going to just be a couple grand for something.
Dude, it's crazy. It's crazy. The HVAC, I got to buy an HVAC business because, dude, it took them like 5 days, a full construction company to renovate the entire studio. And the HVAC guy was out here for like 2 hours and it was the exact same cost for both. It was just like, what?
Well, Nate, don't worry. You're gonna save so much time now with that new hack where you're not gonna have to watch all this other content.
Yeah, my new AI hack. I didn't realize I could. Dude, I'm telling you, I don't know how many, because this is what we do, right? If we do reactionary content to Sean Ryan's new episode or Candace or Tucker or whatever's going on, like this is what we do. So we got to sit down, we got to watch, we got to get our clips, we got to react. And so that's always been my thing. I'm like, okay, this is a good one. I'm going to sit down, watch with my notepad, take my timestamps, do all that, then come and sit down the next morning and actually go back through it to film it all. And now I realize I don't even have to do that. I don't have to sit down for 3 hours to get my timestamps.
When I first got in the
now
game,
I feel like now I'm going to feel bad almost about doing the content that way. Like didn't actually watch.
No, you know why? Because you're gonna be able to look into so many other things, and you're gonna be able to learn so much more. It's not like you're just gonna do the one video and do it. I mean, you could, but you'll be able to cross-reference. You'll be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of time too.
Yeah. Well, not this way. You just boom. 5 minutes. You got the whole freaking thing. But yeah, when I first got in this and I was still like sending supers and trying to get my name out and reach out, I'm like, yeah, like you should see what I do with AI. And it's like the second people hear that I do research with AI, they think that I'm using it like Google, just trying to. I'm like, no. Like I kind of know what I'm doing when it comes to research. Like I'm pretty good, but most people, they don't want to hear it.
No. But the crazy thing, Bays, is like, dude, I know how to use AI that way because I did that to have my master's degree. That's how I did it. So like, I'm very good at this, but the fact that my retarded brain didn't be like, translate, hey, you already know how to do all of this. Maybe use that instead of your stupid notepad, right? I already know how to do it all. I just didn't like compute the difference. Like, oh, I could do this with a YouTube video or, a podcast.
Yeah, so. And that's why I started using the name Bayes too, because the math formula, Bayes theorem. I would use that. It's a probability model. So I would have it to just say like run the files through and like run a deep search analysis, and then I would say use Bayes to figure out what direction to go in next, like using it for like predictive behavior. That was why when you had Professor Jiang on. Remember when you had him on? I said that's stupid. I'm like, yo, and he's like, I don't know what that is.
Actually, I did. I asked him, right? Didn't I?
Yeah, and he's like, I don't know what that is. And I'm like, what? Like, how is that possible? Like everything.
I remember that because you were like, ask him that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, how are you not using Bayes? I thought for sure that he was gonna, maybe he's full of shit. Maybe he just doesn't want everyone to know his cheat code. I don't know. But like predictive behavior, like that's literally how like intelligence figures stuff out for like counterterror. It's using Bayes. The medical industry uses it for vaccines. Netflix, when they figure out which show or movie to recommend you next, like all that predictive behavior, it's all using Bayes theorem.
Oh, and that's why okay. So that's what you named yourself off. Okay.
Yes, because that's how I was doing all my research, and that is before the files came out. I was going deep into
Bayes. Can I be honest?
Yeah.
With you? Because now this makes so much more sense now that you explain this. I thought, okay, sorry. Watch this. So
I'm ready.
Okay. All right. So you remember back when you were like, hey, can you ask Jiang if he uses Bayes theorem? Right?
Yeah.
Dude. I
know. I already know what you're gonna say because I remember what you said. You want me to say it?
Yeah, go. Let me see.
Yeah, because he shot it down. He's like, I never heard of that. And then you're like,
okay, so
yeah, I don't know why they would use that for war anyway.
Well, hold on. There's something funnier with this, right? So you text me and you're like, hey, ask Jiang if he uses Bayes theorem, right? I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, yeah, Bayes is my homie. I'll ask him. But I was like, I didn't know what Bayes theorem was. So I was like, maybe Bayes has like a mathematical equation that he invented. I didn't know, right? So, but I was also like this is kind of arrogant because you know what I mean? I'm like, did Bayes come up with a mathematical theory that he thinks Jiang is using? Right? Because I'm like, did Bayes create? Okay, whatever. Because so I had thought that Bayes, because you asked Professor Jiang if he uses Bayes theorem. I thought this was something you created. And so
And
when
then
I asked
just
him,
assumed that he would figure it out, and my theory.
no,
is
well,
so good that-
yeah, so I'm like, well, okay, whatever. I don't know what any of this is, but maybe Bayes is a mathematical genius that has a theorem that like people know about all over the internet. So when I asked him, I literally thought this was no, I feel retarded, but I literally thought that it was your like a video you had done on like Bayes theory because your channel is RealBayes. So I literally thought this was like a video you had done that maybe had gone viral. So, and I was like asking him, like, "Hey, do you use Bayes theorem?" Like as if it was your like mathematical equation from a video. I had no idea that this was like an actual famous Bayes theorem was like a famous. I thought this was literally your thing. When I asked him that.
No. That's
Oh my God, dude. I was like, wow. That's why I was like, this is kind of arrogant of Bayes to assume that Professor Jiang is using his theorem.
am I really that bad with plugging my shit with the supers that people think that that's what I'm doing?
Dude,
Wouldn't I have said, hey, tell Professor Jiang to check out my theorem, see what he
dude,
thinks?
I don't know. I do, bro. I know. Now I feel super stupid, but I not because, dude, because I like you. I was like, Bayes is great. You know what I mean? But in my mind, I was like, dude, no shit. I was like,
What an
Bayes, this is
asshole.
no, yeah. I was like, Bayes, this is kind of arrogant of you to assume that Professor Jiang is using your mathematical theory. All right, dude.
This is the second time that you made me laugh like this today.
Dude, I literally thought Bayes' theory was some mathematical equation you came up with. And
Dude,
that's why I was asking
I'm a retard. I just
if he
figured
used
it out
it.
with AI. No, you know how I found out about it? When I was using ChatGPT, and it's like,
Oh my
you
God, dude.
give it like prompts to like set it. I said, I'm like, if I was a CIA analyst, how would I do this research? And then it was ChatGPT that's like, well, Bayesian.
No, I'm literally up to the moment we have talked about this.
This whole time.
I thought,
so you've thought about this on different occasions, like this.
100%,
100%.
100%. But I'm like, dude, I really like Bayes, right? Like, no, honestly.
I'm just an arrogant.
I was
fuck.
actually, I'll be honest, I was a little bit like kind of irked when you said it. But I'm like, I really like Bayes. You know what I mean? Like we talked, he's fucking awesome. Maybe he's done like crazy scientific work on this. And like Jiang needs to credit him on this, right? So I'm like, I'll just kind of like, whatever. It's Bayes' theorem. Like, okay, I swear to God, when I asked Professor Jiang that, I thought it was something your YouTube channel had put out when I said,
No.
I swear to God.
No. This thing was made hundreds of years ago.
I literally thought up until this moment that Bayes' theorem was something you came up with. You personally.
I wish.
You personally. I thought this was your thing. Literally all of that.
Believe me, I've always been pretty good with math. I'm not inventing any formulas though.
Don't
Yo,
put
that's
this or
so
tell this
funny.
to anybody on the internet, especially not Professor Jiang.
Wait, what'd you say?
Holy shit, I am dumb as fuck, dude. You know what I mean? I just realized, chat, I just realized how fucking retarded I am. I literally thought Bayes' theorem was Bayes. Our friend Bayes' here is mathematical equation that he literally came up with that I was asking Professor Jiang arrogantly for Bayes. The audacity. I kind of at some points I was like, the audacity of Bayes to think that Professor Jiang is using.
Don't lie. That ended up in a group chat. Can you believe this fucking guy texts me? It did. You don't got to tell me who. It's okay.
I don't know if it came in a group chat, but that came in my brain. Bayes, I'll promise you, like, at one point I was in the shower, like, wow, this fucking Bayes is fucking. But also, I also kind of like that. You know what I mean? Like, part of me was like, dude, I like the fucking confidence of this motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, this motherfucker has got, like, the audacity to assume some random Chinese guy like from Macau, just is using his mathematical theory to fucking do predictions on like the United States losing a war to Iran. Bayes figured all of that out with a mathematical equation. All right, dude. It's kind of arrogant, but I'll ask.
Nate, what can I say? You learn something new every day. Yo, I'm so glad that you decided to come on the stream today. God knows how long you would have had to hold this in.
I literally, that was like 4 months ago.
Yeah, I know.
4 months ago. And it wasn't even like it was a conversation. In passing, you were like, hey, saw Jiang's coming on your channel. All you texted me, you're like, ask him if he uses Bayes' theory. That's all it was, remember?
Yeah.
Because like it wasn't like we were in a conversation.
It was an honest question because
you were just like, hey,
Jiang
saw Jiang's coming on your channel. Awesome. Ask him if he uses Bayes' theory. And I remember where I was. I was about to get in my shower, right? And I looked at my phone, and I remember looking at my phone being like, wow, that's really fucking arrogant of Bayes to assume that. And then I put it down. And I was like, no big deal. And then I think I text you back later. But I do remember being like, wow, the audacity of this.
No, you didn't get back to me. So I sent a $100 super chat to make sure that you would read it, and then you text me after.
Wow. Maybe I'm retarded. I don't know, but I didn't know that Bayes' theory wasn't your mathematical theory.
Bad read. I gotta tell you.
That's awesome.
No, but that's what it is. It's a famous math formula, and it's used to predict things. Like that's what it's all about. It's not mine. I didn't make up the theory. I just took the name.
Well, I just learned that today again from the moment you said that. I thought Bayes' theory was literally your mathematical theory. So there you go.
So funny.
Wow, how funny.
I wish. Yo, I'm never gonna forget this story.
We would have never figured that out. That would have gone no matter like had we not streamed tonight and talked about this, we'd have never brought that up ever again.
I know. You would have
because it was no big deal.
In the back of your mind, no matter how nice I am, you would have thought that I was like this arrogant fuck. Like that.
But I mean, not that dude, coming from my background, like I got arrogant friends, and that's okay. I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? Like a fucking super confident dude that's like, fuck yeah, that's my shit, bitch. Ask him about that.
Professor Jiang, he's on the board every day.
I'm like, okay.
He's touring everywhere, all the big channels. It's like, ask him if he's using my theory.
I'll ask him, Bayes. Okay.
Chill. Tell Jiang I want my fucking shout out.
Exactly. That's kind of how I felt, dude. I swear to God, that's kind of how I felt. I'm like, but Bayes, am I not a homie? Because did I not ask him? Did I not ask him?
Yeah.
In the interview, I didn't even know what it. Now, how funny is that I didn't even know what that meant, and I thought it was your theory, and I still asked him in real time. So did you use my boy's Bayes' theory, homie? No, that's what I thought I was asking him.
But don't lie. Is that part of the reason when he said no that you were like, yeah, I don't know why you would use something like that in war or geopolitics, but whatever. I'm like, you're like shitting on me right now. Like, what did I do?
No, I had no idea, dude. I didn't know what to say because, dude, I honestly thought he was going to say yes because you were so confident. You were so confident when you. Dude,
I'm like, yo, he definitely uses it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I was like, so then when. And so when I asked him, I had no idea what it even fucking meant, but I figure you two fucking idiots would know what all this meant, right? Because this is my retard chimp brain being like, well, they're probably smarter than me and they know what this is. So I'm going to pretend that I know what's going on. I'm going to ask this question, right? And so when I asked him, I'm like, so do you use Bayes' theory for this? And he was like, no. And then I was like, well, yeah, of course not. You wouldn't fucking use it because I'm retarded, you know? So, yeah, I thought for sure because it was some famous thing that you had invented that he was going to be like, yes, that's what I used. And then he was like, no. I was like,
yeah,
okay, sir.
I can't remember the last time I laughed this hard. I laughed almost as hard before when I was watching you and JD. When you were telling this story. about when you found the YouTuber that had the same name as your friend and looked just like your friend.
Oh, JD, yeah. This guy looks exactly like the This JD delay looks exactly like the JD delay that I was friends with for 20 years.
I was laughing so hard.
Yeah, you fucking idiot. Oh, shit.
Listen,
so
we
a
all
lot
have
of
our
times people will be like, Nate's really smart, and now you guys are realizing like,
no,
nah,
but
Nate's...
you are really smart. The way that you break down geopolitical issues and the war, and like to just like you know all this shit, and you see all these things coming, and you're not even using my math formula to figure it out.
No, you guys can tell. No, I have not been using any formulas. No, but that is a good point, Bays, and I think I get a lot of credit and have a lot of like sort of growth in my channel because I think over time people are like, fuck, this guy just keeps like being right about what's coming. And I don't think it's like not I'm Nostradamus, but I do have a pretty good background in the space, and I think I pay attention to what's going on. And dude, I like the crazy thing about like the Iran war is I have a video 10 months ago. I did an entire breakdown of if we went to war with Iran, here's what would happen. And I like lined out the first thing Iran's going to do, shut down the Strait of Hormuz. And I like show all the graphics. Here it is. Here's how it goes. It goes through the Strait of Malacca. It's going to do like all these effects to the oil industry, like broke all of it down. And then like 10 minutes later, the exact shit happens. And Donald Trump comes out and is like, nobody could have predicted this. And all my audience is like, well, fucking Nate fucking predicted all of this. You know what I mean? It's like, not that I'm Nostradamus, but I don't have any theories, but I think I've been pretty good. You know what I mean? When it comes to, at least on the war front, on what's going on, you know?
And you were also the one that predicted that there might have been evidence of a 223 on one of those roofs.
I did. That was day two of all that. I did do that. That's going to be our next ballistics test that we're going to try out. So
that's a good idea.
We're going to do a 223 round from the same distance and slope as the building that it was found on. And we're going to use and just see like, well, we know the 30. If you guys didn't watch my new recent video, by the way, YouTube has completely shadow banned it, but we pretty much demonstrated the exact shot that was taken supposedly by Tyler Robinson, like to the yard, to the exact degree slope, same ammunition, everything.
Yeah, I wanted to cover it, but I'm afraid to play it live. I don't know what all the rules are.
So
I know like James Lee and a couple other guys. Like, isn't that the rule? Like, if you do it, you can make a video, but streaming it live, they're stricter.
So YouTube has extremely strict firearms live streaming guidelines. So I've had, like my audience knows, we've had multiple live streams ripped down for just even showing a firearm. So that's a little bit sketchy, but what I think you can do is potentially use like the damage and effects on like what we tested afterwards, as long as you don't show like the gunshots.
Yeah, don't show the weapon, just show the.
Yeah, but I mean, even the video I put out today, you know, with the full test, they fucking demonetized it, full shadow banned it, limited it, which is a little bit sketchy because like my previous ballistic tests back when, you know, this first came out, dude, YouTube pushed the shit out of those videos. Like that video has like 700,000, 800,000 views. YouTube's like, everybody watch this. Everybody watch this. Now it's like hardcore shadow banning the content. Like they do not want people to see this stuff. And it's like a little bit weird.
Dude, it's so crazy too, because now I've been doing this for about 7 months. I've been live streaming for about 5. And I think, you know, for my sub size, I think my channel does pretty well. My live streams are kind of all over the place. Like I'm you know, like there's a wide range. It's like between like 200 viewers and 500 concurrents, which is still really small when you consider the fact that I only cracked 10,000 like a week ago.
No, but hold on. But 500 concurrent live viewers is not small for 10,000 subscribers. Actually, it's massive. That's insane. We have channels doing, let's be honest here, somebody like Gary from Paramount Tactical. He has 300,000 subscribers, and he averages about 500 to 600 concurrent viewers on a live stream. You have 1/30th of those subscribers with almost the same amount of, or close to, concurrent live viewers. We start to math that out, right? You're actually doing a lot better than you think you are.
Yeah, no, I'm scaling well, like for a small channel, and you know, I got a great foundation. I have a really great base, and you know, they're very generous too. So it's like I still do pretty good with the supers, and I get memberships, and you know, that's why I dedicate the time I do to the members only. So I don't necessarily do everything that would make my channel grow the fastest, but it's like it's got a strong foundation, and I think that it's growing the right way. But the point that I was trying to make is, when I take the time to edit an original video and put like the bells and whistles with like extra editing effects and an intro and music and whatnot, and I do it about like TPUSA or something like that, I'll get anywhere between like 5 and 15,000 views on it, which for my channel, like considering at that point, I got like 9,000 subs at the time, it's pretty good. If I do the same thing and I make a video about the guy who owns Microsoft, I'll get 200 views, and it won't matter what the click-through rate is. Doesn't matter. You know, I just don't get the impressions. And it's just crazy when you think about that. Like the level of censorship with things.
Yeah, I mean, they can be very, very specific in what they allow or what they don't allow. But, you know, as for you, I mean, what's the specific space? What are the biggest numbers you get live stream wise, like topic wise?
You mean the numbers or the topic?
No, I mean viewership numbers based off.
It's been scaling. It's been going up lately. Like for a while, I was stuck around like between like 180 and 250. It was like pretty consistent there for a couple months, and then I just had a breakout. And then that live that I did with Lala the other day, it hit like 1,200 concurrents. When I did the stream with Gary, I did 800 concurrents. Last Friday, I did like 500 or 600 concurrents. And then like a night like tonight, starting at midnight or 1 in the morning, you know, now I would expect it to be like 150, and we're at like 250, you know, 240, 250.
Which, dude, this late at night, you know what I mean? Like most people aren't up. But my point with that is, even if you're, you know, 250, 500, these are actually pretty good numbers, because even if you look at my channel, and I, you know, with our live streaming, we do pretty big numbers comparatively. But I mean, I've got 500 and something thousand subscribers, and a typical live stream is around 4 to 8,000 viewers, right? At 500,000. But if you actually like mathematically break that down comparatively, percentage wise, you're actually doing it 500 concurrent live streams, like live or viewers at 10,000 subscribers. Like if my channel has 50 times the subscribers, if I was doing 50 times 500 that, I'd have 25,000 to 30,000 viewers at the same statistic that you're doing.
Yeah, at the same scale.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So you're doing fucking way better than you actually think you are, just based off of those numbers. Because, dude, I was doing YouTube videos for about a year and a half before I ever did a live stream. And I like built my live streaming up over time over the last year and a half. But I mean, I was doing 200, 230, 300, 300, 400 for, you know, a long time. You know what I mean? And then the fact that, and that was with, I think I had like 100,000 to 150,000 subscribers when I was doing those live streams at the same numbers you're doing. So you're actually, oh yeah, dude, you're actually, dude, your numbers are crazy, man. I tuned in the other night and you had, I think it was like 1,200.
Yeah, that was when I was doing the stream with Lala.
Dude, that's insane for for a channel on your side. That's literally insane, dude.
Like, yeah, I got lucky with that though, because Candace was off, Baron went earlier, I was able to slide into like a primetime slot that I normally wouldn't be able to be in. And I had someone that used to work for TPUSA and have it saying TPU, TPUSA
all right.
Insider tells all. So I had some advantages to like give me that boost, And
but dude,
I
even with that, man, the fact that you're doing like the size of live streams that you're doing at your size channel is fucking crazy, man.
Dude,
that's why I told you like way back.
nervous.
I was like, dude, you just gotta like grind. Don't give up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, I say it all the time that I was so shocked because I had already started watching you from from Ian, but I wasn't like I was so busy like just trying to get my thing going and do my thing that I wasn't watching everybody at that point. And then I had a bunch of people messaging me saying that you were playing my clips, and I'm like, no fucking way. And then I saw it. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And then we linked up, and you took the time to call me, and we spoke on the phone, and you were giving me advice, and like it meant a lot to what I mean. Like it was it was a good motivator. It was like, okay, I'm doing something right, like I just got to keep going. And you told me then, you're like,
and that's what I told you,
most
dude.
People,
they give up.
Like most people don't even make it 6 months. Like usually you won't even give them the time of day. Like let's see if they're around in 6 months and everything, And it was funny because I was talking to you. I think on this, like once I hit 6 months, I had reached out to you and like we were talking that day, and I was thinking about. I'm getting there. I'm gonna do it. I knew pretty early on in the first month. I was so nervous. I would spend literally 9 hours just to make an 1.5 hour long video.
Dude, I used to do
I'm
that
like,
too.
I'm never going to go live. I'm like, there's no way. And then once I linked up with Danks, I got to give him the credit because he was just calling me in the morning. He's like, dude, come on. I'm live. Let's go. I'm going to send you a link. Come on. And I'm like, nah, bro, I don't do lives. Like, what do you mean you don't do lives? Like, come on. And then like the first couple times I went live, it was like, okay. And then like, it was weird. The second time I went live by myself, they cut my stream. I was covering the Tucker Carlson, Mike Huckabee interview, and I got so pissed. And then I went live like a day or two later, and my chat was all messed up. I thought I got hacked, and then Dang said it was something weird. People weren't able to chat in English. So they were communicating with numbers and in Spanish, like just saying like hola and stuff to each other. And I got so fired up. I went on one of these big, angry, our not so greatest ally rants. And like,
I've been there.
Yeah, the fact that like all that stuff was going on, I still had like the support of the chat and everything. And I got all fired up. Like after that, I was not really uncomfortable with going live anymore. It's like, okay, like what are the worst things that could happen to you when you're going live? It's like you have these problems, you're finding out like while you're live, you got that like, oh shit, what do I do? Stupid look on my face. So the fact that it happened early on, it just helped me break in quicker.
Got it out of your system.
Yeah. And now it's like there are times that I want to make a video and I'm like, I should make a video because if I make a video, I'll get more subs, it'll get out there. I'm like, hey, you know what? Screw it. Let me just surprise everybody. Like tonight, for example, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go live, and then good things happen. Look, I finally got you on. and we finally got to clear the air about Bayes' theorem.
Dude, we weren't planning on that. That was crazy. But again, I was supposed to be, I was supposed to leave probably an hour and a half ago. But
oh my God, how long you been on? No, you could go.
No, I've been here with you for an hour and 45 minutes. Bayes, I told you what did I say? I was like, I could come on for about 10 minutes.
Yeah, you did.
My wife
I can't even believe it's been that long.
My wife is gonna fucking kill me, but it's fine.
Nah, go do your thing.
No,
we'll plan.
But anyway, I came on now. Yeah, no, I came on just because it was gonna be fun. But what I was gonna say, no. This is not going to be our regular one. We got to do a actual dedicated live stream together.
We got to tell that story to your audience when there's more than 200 watching.
My audience would have been like, what the fuck is going on? Because like after we don't stream on Thursdays. It's Thursday, right?
Yeah,
Thursday. And then streamed earlier. I'm going to come back. My audience would have been like, we're out. But no, we got to definitely, we'll coordinate next week or so. We've already been talking about this. Chat, don't worry. We're going to do a dedicated full stream between me and Bayes. So, all right. Yeah. I'm going to try to sneak back into my house. My wife's going to kill me. My
Nate.
wife was already mad when I went to use the bathroom on a break on me and JD Delay's stream 3 hours ago. So I'm gonna try to sneak back in there. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, we'll do it. All right, love you, buddy. I'm getting the fuck out of here. I gotta go to bed. You guys, well, actually, I'm actually just gonna tune back in and watch you while I go to bed. But for me, chat, I'm out of here. All right.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
Later.
see you. Get me out of here.
Yep. Oh, no, not banned. All right, there we go. Yo, he is the best. Yo, that is so funny, though. That is so funny that's what he thought. I'm like, yo, see if Professor Jiang's using my math formula. Yo, you can't make it up. All right, let me read a couple of supers. I'm sorry for anybody if there was anybody that sent them that they wanted me to read when Nate was still here. I didn't even think about it. And then we'll get back into the Joe Rogan JD Vance interview. Anne Marie, $5. Thank you very much. Bays, love you, buddy, but I'm gonna correct you. I get a giggle every time you say it. LOL. It's crochet. Oh, I read that one already. Whoops. No, we're a little further down. Keats, $5. Thank you. Go follow our brother Valhalla. Yes. If you are not following Valhalla VFT, you definitely need to do that. He is one of the best in the business by far. Definitely one of my favorites. Ali Top Files, thank you very much. I absolutely love you too. And great video, Valhalla, on the 30-6 test today. Yes, I'm gonna make a video breaking that down just because I don't want to cover it live because YouTube is so strict with that stuff. I don't want to get any strikes on my channel, but I'll probably do that tomorrow, or I'll do it tonight and release it tomorrow. Awakening, gifting a membership. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We got Mesh gifting a membership. Thank you. Keats again to get yourself a daisy. Thank you very much. Mesh again, please don't curse. Bless it, saying, gotcha. Okay. It's from now on. I didn't even know I said that. I'm sorry. Danny, $2. RealBayes is actually Newton's law as well. Haha. Is it? Is it? I gotta look that up. I don't know if I knew that part. If it is. Oh my God, I can never say your name. You got to tell me how to. Shirin Nujenma. I'm sorry. Listen, you are somebody that's going to have to another super to get me to pronounce it right. Like they were earlier on. That enunciation, that's like a freaking SAT for me. Are you kidding me? Bayes Theorem should be merch. That's actually not a bad idea. Big super from Renee Loves Pink. Thank you very much for making us laugh. Thank you. Yeah, that's what we do here. We want to have fun. It's supposed to be a good time. It can't all just be like scaring the shit out of you about how the government's out to get you. We got to like enjoy life a little bit too. Awakening, $2. Valhalla. I was today years old. ... We got Mesh again saying hilarious. We got Dale in the chat. Was trying to sleep now, laughing my ass off. Most endearing moment ever. Love this. Y'all are cracking me up. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I was that is the hardest I laughed in a very, very long time. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm gonna be laughing at that all week. My girl is gonna think there's something wrong with me. We got Mr. Risky Rich in the building. Usually can't catch Nate lives. Been missing Jimmy's stream. I am so happy to start my day with a double whammy. Thanks, guys. You're awesome. Thank you. And buddy, I got something coming for you. Madness BH, $2. Please ask Nate about his poopy theorem. Hey, yo, you guys got to chill with that. That's like, you know, like stuff like that's funny in the beginning, but you don't want to go too hard. Like he's hearing it every time the guy gets up. Like, oh man, poor Nate. Danny, $5. VFT, you're so real. Still riding with Bayes, even if he was acting like the actual Bill Nye. What? Oh yeah, because he thought I was acting like Bill Nye. That's good. You still supported him. That's friendship. Never changed. Yo, Nate's a real one. He really is. Fucking love that guy. Risky Rich, 4 months. Thank you very much. RealBayes, you make it easy to support you. You're a real one. Thank you. I try. I really genuinely do. Hold on. Let me find this video and we'll get right back to it.
If there's still a crazy person who's still unwilling to shoot a few drones at the Strait of Hormuz. What the president has done, I think very, very capably, is said, we're going to use military force in this situation when it's connected to something we're trying to achieve. So if you shoot at ships, we're going to shoot at the facilities at which you used to shoot at the ships. But we're not just going to do something open-ended indefinitely. We're not just going to bomb and bomb and bomb. We're going to try to use our military force as one of the many tools that we have to solve the problem. And obviously, like, I'm biased, but I think that's exactly the right approach. I think you have to read between the lines a little bit, because if you look at what Mike Pence or some of the conservative hawks, like people who voted for us but have been very critical of me, very critical of the administration, if you actually look at what they're proposing, they just want the military campaign to go on forever, and they can't actually identify what it is that they're trying to accomplish.
See, he's honest about that, and so many politicians are. They say it time and time again. They acknowledge the fact that the military-industrial complex wants these wars to keep going on and on and on and on, and just keep feeding the machine and keep getting rich and, you know, keep spreading death at the expense of our tax dollars. But then every time they're in a position, when they're in the position, they just keep doing it. You know what I mean? Like, remember Trump? He was going to end all the wars. He was going to be the president of peace. You know, during his first term, he went into North Korea. He was all buddy hanging out with Kim Jong what's his face. You know, and now it's like World War III. You know, so just because you hear JD Vance all of a sudden say, like, yeah, you know, it's like they just want these never-ending wars. It's like, when is it going to stop? It's like, are you going to be the one to make it stop? You know, and whatever. I'm not going to rant too much. We'll just keep listening, and you guys let me know what you think in the comments.
None of them can identify what it is they're trying to accomplish, and I read two things between the lines. I think some of them want us to accomplish a complete change in the government of Iran, to topple the clerics and to replace those clerics with somebody who's, you know, much friendlier. But, like, look, what is our experience with doing that? It's
not
awful.
good.
It's not good, right? And so, like, if the Iranian people want to rise up and change their government, that's up to them. But we're not going to send 150,000 ground troops in order to accomplish a change in a regime unless the people on the ground themselves want to accomplish that outcome. Now, we're not going to send the troops in regardless, but, like, to propose sending in the troops, you're basically saying that the U.S. military should do the job for the Iranian people. We're not in that business anymore. We're just not. And then I think a second outcome that people are...
No, we're not in the business of sending in troops for the civilians of the countries that we're invading. We're in the business of sending in the troops for you know who. Right? Come on, guys. Am I wrong? Am I right? Let me know.
Or whether they're aware of it or not, is what I call the Libya outcome. So if you look at the end result of our Libya policy after Gaddafi was killed by the Obama administration, by the way.
Yeah, the Libya out. Oh, my God. Yo, that pisses me off because... Now, listen. I don't think that there's any leader that's like a perfect individual or a perfect human being, or it doesn't have to do some evil and grimy shit along the way to get power or to maintain power. But they made Gaddafi out to be like this big bad, and he was doing a lot of great things. I'm not going to sit there and act like he was all great and that he wasn't doing anything bad, but, like, I've actually spoken to people that lived in Africa and lived not in Libya, but in surrounding nations. And they said that the region was much, much better off for the people when he was in power. And if any of you guys have ever seen the video of Hillary Clinton, where she gets the call and gets the news while she's in the middle of an interview that Gaddafi was killed, it is sadistic. It is sadistic. The way she is laughing, it's just pure evil. And then when you see what they did to the guy, Like, they beat him, they arred him with sticks, and they dragged his naked body through the streets. Like, torture, humiliation ritual. And this was a guy who was genuinely trying to make the world a better place. And they did that, and they took his gold, and they left his country in ruins.
Again, a very stupid decision. What happened? Libya basically turned into a failed state. You had a refugee crisis. You had people pouring into Europe, pouring into other parts of Asia, other parts of Africa. You had a lot of violence, a lot of terrorism come from that. I do think that there are people who would like that to be the outcome in Iran. But then I say, again, what is in our interest? How is it in the United States' interest to have 94 million desperate people flooding into Europe, flooding into the United States, to have, you know, sort of the terrorist infrastructure that can get established when you fan terrorists all over the world? We've run this experiment before. And so our policy right now, what we're trying to accomplish is get the straits open, ensure the free flow of oil and gas. Obviously, we want to keep the Iranians from having a nuclear weapons.
Wait, hold on. That's the goal. Get the strait open, keep oil and gas flowing, and keep Iran from getting nukes? You mean exactly the way the world was before the war started? Yes or no? Because before this war started, the gas and the oil was flowing just fine. Our own intelligence was saying that they had no reason to believe that they had or wanted to get nuclear weapons. And the Strait of Hormuz was not only open, but they weren't trying to charge tolls. Now look at the situation that we're in now. And JD Vance, he's got all the answers. You know, like I said before, like Nate and JD said, they're gonna like prop him up to be the guy who he told you so. He was against it all. He wanted those files to get released. He was against the war, you know. But then if he becomes president, who's his number one backer and supporter? Peter Thiel. So what is that? Is he going to tell Peter Thiel no? Is he going to shoot down Palantir when they want to like put our whole country under serious mass surveillance? I don't know, guys. Do you guys trust JD Vance? Put a 1 in the chat if you do.
Program and using the tools of diplomacy.
Actually, no. That's probably bad for my chat rate. Just put a 2 in the chat if you don't.
And military power to accomplish that.
And Libya failing and the collapse of Libya is a lot of what's fueled the migrant crisis in Europe as well, correct?
Exactly. That in Syria, another failed state that was created by bad Middle Eastern policy. So there is precedent for the United States doing this. Every time that it has happened, it's caused a refugee crisis, it's caused a spike in terrorism, and it's also, not incidentally, to the moral considerations, it's led to a lot of innocent civilian deaths.
Now, what was the talk about? I think the number was like $300 billion in concessions to Iran to rebuild. And
yeah, so this is another just bullshit argument that the critics made against the deal. And again, like just to back up a little bit, this is my own little hobby horse, but look, the coalition that Donald Trump piloted to the 2024 election campaign, it was a landslide. We won 7 states. It was historic. Nobody, certainly no Republican, had actually led a coalition like that, at least since the days of Ronald Reagan. So like literally before I was alive. Okay. So Donald Trump wins this great coalition. And look, it's got hawks and it's got people who hate foreign wars. Okay. It's got people like you and people like Tucker. It's also got people like Mark Levin and others. Okay. I just accept that as a reality. That's part of the coalition. I don't say that anybody is welcome or unwelcome. I say that if you're willing to sort of help us, you're going to get a lot what you want. You don't get everything that you want. What has really annoyed me about the hawkish side of this thing is they attack any effort to negotiate. They attack the president. They attack me personally. Donald Trump is betraying me. Well, wait a second. If you want to have like a hawkish policy towards Iran, the idea that Donald Trump has betrayed you because he's also trying to negotiate to get a good outcome for the American people.
Listen, this war with Iran is not the only reason why people feel betrayed by Donald Trump. Like, let's just get that shit crystal clear. I think that it's definitely a big reason, but I think the main reason that people feel betrayed by Donald Trump is for what happened with the e-files and what we know and what we don't know, and the fact that there has been zero accountability. Zero. The war would have been bad enough. I think a lot of people would have felt betrayed just from the war alone. But to sit there and gaslight us and pretend that this war is the only reason why we feel betrayed. I mean, there are a lot of people that feel betrayed by the handling of the Charlie Kirk case. Or now we could call it the Tyler Robinson case. There are a lot of reasons why people feel betrayed by Donald Trump. I think they feel betrayed by Donald Trump for the way that Thomas Massey was able to get primaried and railroaded out of the office that he's been sitting in for over a decade. I think people feel betrayed by the fact that they're trying to push this legislation to merge our military and intelligence with a foreign nation. So for this guy to have the fucking balls to act like the reason we feel betrayed is because of the war with Iran and only the war with Iran, give me a fucking break.
Is crazy.
You're
and
right.
So you've seen a lot
crazy.
of these people completely flip on him, and that brings me to the $300 billion point. What we did with the MOU is we actually worked not just with the Iranians, but with the Gulf Arab states.
What is the term MOU? What does it stand for?
Memorandum of Understanding. It's the basic.
Yeah, exactly. We've been hearing that term a lot. Trust me, bro. JD Vance is going to be the trust me, bro candidate. Yo, I got to put that on a fucking shirt. Yo, for real. Guys, put a 1 in the chat if you want me to make some JD Vance trust me, bro shirts. I'm going to get those cooking real soon. Those got to come out.
It's the basic structure that we set up for the negotiation. So what happened here is, okay, so people sort of think of the Middle East as like Iran versus Israel. I think a lot of people do. There's also a massive number of Gulf states that are really important, good allies to the United States. You know, they and Israel don't always see eye to eye, but we're obviously very close to both Israel and to the Gulf states. And the Gulf states
don't always see eye to eye. Come on, JD. Don't you think that's a little bit of an understatement? Who doesn't always see eye to eye with Israel? Lebanon? You know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about?
Actually came to us and said, you know what? If the Iranians are really willing to change their behavior, we'd like to invest in rebuilding their country. Now, whether they change their behavior is something that's going to be determined over the long term, right? We want to see real changes. We want to see them to stop funding terrorist organizations. And also, of course, none of that money comes from the United States. But if Iran's biggest enemies in the region are saying, we'd like to invest if they've changed their behavior, would the United States let us? Would we release the sanctions that would make it possible for the UAE and Saudi Arabia and other countries to invest in Iran? Our attitude was, well, isn't that a victory for us? If Iran's biggest enemies see that they have changed themselves so much that they're willing to invest in the Iranian economy, isn't that like the definition of a win-win? And then you had all these people saying, no, you can't give them $300 billion. It's like, we're not talking about giving them $300 billion. We're talking about...
Bro, is this guy really trying to sell? Yo, the balls of anybody from this administration or anybody in politics trying to sell improving an economy to sell a war. Really? Really? That's your pitch? That's your pitch? Why don't you fix our economy first, you fucking jerk off?
Letting other countries invest in Iran if Iran has changed the way that it treats the Gulf Arab countries. It's fundamentally between them, meaning the Iranians, and the Gulf Arab countries. So there's this line in the MOU that basically says that if Iran meets all of its obligations, then we will permit other countries to invest in Iran. That's it. And that, like, again, the hawks attacked us and misrepresented this and lied about it and said the Trump administration is going to give the Iranians $300 billion. And it's totally fake. It's completely made up, and it was done purely in order to politically tank the negotiation.
Yo, like, who gave JD his talking points for this? Seriously, who gave JD Vance his talking points for this Joe Rogan interview? Mike Huckabee? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, yeah, you're a funny guy, JD. You're not as funny as Nate, but you're pretty funny.
So there's been this interesting dynamic here where, as we've been trying to negotiate, there have been these extraordinarily well-funded efforts to tank the negotiation, to prevent us from reaching a deal, to change American public opinion, which, by the way, if you look at the public opinion, people love the idea of actually getting to a final resolution on this thing. Americans they're not game for long-term, open-ended regime change wars in the Middle East. They're okay with us using the military to accomplish discrete objectives. They're not okay with open-ended obligations.
What do you think the motivation of the Hawks is? Do you think this is? Are they influenced by defense contractors? Are they what's the reason why they're so keen on continuing?
Listen, I just saw a comment in the chat where somebody's saying I'm only voting libertarian from now on or whatever. I see a lot of people talking about turning into independents. Listen, check the laws in your state, okay? Because the primary elections are the ones that matter the most. And for some states, you could vote for any party in any primary. You just pick your pick. In some states, you can only vote for a person in the party that you're registered with. So if you're in one of those states, then you're going, at this point in time, 2026, you're going to want to be registered as either a Democrat or a Republican, even if you're like me and you think that they're all cocksuckers, because every vote still matters. And if there is a primary where there is a potential candidate that is not a complete sellout, that actually does have our interests at heart, they're going to need every vote they could get. So if you unregister from the party and you're in one of these states, you're removing your voice. You're removing your vote from the equation. And like, we have to be more calculated than that.
Continuing to bomb.
I think with any big group of people, you have a diversity of opinions. So sure, I'm sure that you have people who are influenced by defense contractors. There's a lot of talk about how much is the Israeli government influencing American politics, and there are certainly certain people within the Israeli government who hate the deal, and we see exact evidence. There was a Times story that came out yesterday that basically there are certain influencers in America who are being paid in order to attack the deal. I think some of it's just pure political ideology, right? It's foreign policy perspectives that are much different from mine. They think that America that we can basically.
See, and I felt the same way for a long time. And that's why I do what I do. And that's why I have this channel, because I am going to make sure that my voice is heard. And I'm going to make sure that people that think like me, that their voices are heard too, because I love my country. I love America. And I hate seeing what's been done. Like, we've been gutted out. We've been gutted out by scumbags, and we need to take our country back. And there is still a path through voting, but people need to be organized, and they need to know what they're doing, and they need to do it. Simple and plain.
You can wave a magic wand with the military and accomplish whatever you want. And, it's not that simple. You actually have to have a very clear objective. Military power can accomplish a clear objective, but you've got to have that clear objective. You can't just say, we're going to bomb until something good happens. That never works. The United States has tried that before. So I think it's a combination of things, but I definitely think you have seen this very discreet, extremely well-funded campaign to try to derail the negotiation and try to derail the deal. And, there's this Time article that came out yesterday. A friend sent it to me. It's like worth reading because it lists a bunch of people who have quite literally been paid by a former Trump campaign person who was himself paid by certain elements within the Israeli government. And those people are attacking me viciously for quite.
Wait, is he talking about Bradley Parscale? Is he talking about Bradley Parscale right now? And just not dropping his name? Because Bradley Parscale used to work on the Trump campaign. And Bradley Parscale, as we all know, was a registered foreign agent for our not so greatest ally. The same Bradley Parscale that is the chief strategic officer for Salem Media, that is the distributor for the Charlie Kirk show. I think that's who he's talking about. Hold on, let me rewind this back just a couple of seconds. I think that is who he's talking about.
Clear objective. Military power can accomplish a clear objective, but you've got to have that clear objective. You can't just say, we're going to bomb until something good happens. That never works. The United States has tried that before. So I think it's a combination of things, but I definitely think you have seen this very discreet, extremely well-funded campaign to try to derail the negotiation and try to derail the deal. And, you know, there's this Time article that came out yesterday. A friend sent it to me. It's like worth reading because it lists a bunch of people who have quite literally been paid by a former Trump campaign person who was himself paid by certain elements within the Israeli government. And those people are attacking me viciously for quite literally trying to accomplish the negotiation objective that the president set for the country. So
what is their position? Like, are they attacking you? How?
Oh, it's social media posts. It's, you know, they're leaking to reporters. They're attacking me obsessively, saying that we should not be negotiating with Iran. We should just keep the military campaign going indefinitely. And that is their explicit position. And coming after me saying that, you know, people have come after me and say that I'm influenced by Qatar, that I'm influenced by foreign governments, that, you know, I take my marching orders from Tucker Carlson. And there's just so much bullshit out there when what I'm actually trying to do is accomplish what the president of the United States told me to accomplish, which is a settlement of this that accomplishes our objectives.
Guys, am I good or am I good? Do I know what I'm talking about, or do I know what I'm talking about? What the Time investigation alleges. The article is Trump's ex-campaign manager is running an Israeli influence operation targeting the MAGA base, written by Eric Cortellessa and published by Time, July 14th, 2026. The former Trump campaign official is Brad Parscale, Trump's 2016 digital director and former 2020 campaign manager. Time's core allegation is not merely that Parscale has expressed criticism of Vice President J.D. Vance. It is much broader. Parscale's company allegedly operated an anti-Israeli funded, Parscale's company allegedly operated an Israeli-funded digital influence system that disseminated messages through conservative media and social media personalities like The Charlie Kirk Show, some of which attacked Vance's diplomacy and Trump's Iran ceasefire. The available evidence strongly establishes the foreign-funded communications contract. It does not yet publicly prove that Parscale personally ordered each specific post attacking Vance. Here you go, the verified financial arrangement. In September 2025, the advertising company Havas Media Germany contracted Parscale's firm, Clock Tower X Clock Tower LLC, to conduct communications work under the supervision of the State of Israel. The arrangement was disclosed through the Justice Department's Foreign Agents Registration Act system, also known as FARA. The filings identify Parscale, Clock Tower, and the State of Israel's relationship, and the underlying agreement dated September 8th, 2025. Oh, the underlying agreement was September 8th, 2025, just 2 days before Charlie was taken out. Interesting. Look at this. See, guys, what do I always tell you? It's my pattern recognition. The second I heard him talking about it, I knew exactly. I knew exactly who it was. And I swear, I did not watch this part beforehand. The only part of this that I watched before the stream was when they were talking about the Big E files.
Elements of the Israeli government want to criticize the deal or have disagreements about the deal. I don't even mind an effort to try to influence, you know, foreign governments try to influence the United States all the time. You know, Israel does it, other countries do it. It's just sort of the nature of the beast. What bothers me is actually when Americans allow, meaning American leadership, allows that influence to affect their judgment and to affect what they are advocating for. That's what really bothers me. People are always going to try to influence the United States of America, whether they're allies of ours or whether they're enemies of ours. But again, when I open up the pages of Time magazine and I see that there's a literal foreign influence campaign being funded to tank the very deal that I was pursuing, and oh, by the way, many of the people who were receiving that money were actually attacking me in completely dishonest ways, you know, my response to that is, well, go to hell. I'm going to do what I have to do for the American people. I represent Americans first, and that's the way that I've tried to do this job. And you know, Joe, the crazy thing is, I'm like, people don't realize this. I'm actually in this, you know, there's this massive pro-Israel, anti-Israel debate in the United States of America. I'm like the reasonable moderate. And I think that's what so many people don't realize is, you know, I've been accused of being.
He's just the reasonable moderate, you know, just like Megyn Kelly. He's sitting on the fence right next to her. Some days he's pro, some days he's the voice of reason that's willing to criticize. Yeah. Guys, 2028, JD Vance, what do you say?
An anti-Semite. I've been accused
For
of,
what reason?
quite literally for, I've been accused of trying to, I guess some people say that I've insulted the Jewish religion, which is insane. Like I have a ton of respect for the Jewish religion.
But
I mean, if you talk
what
about,
specifically did you say?
I don't know. I've never heard a good, compelling argument for why I'm an anti-Semite, even though I've been accused of being an anti-Semite by many people. But what I say to these guys is, look at public opinion, look at the way young Republicans versus Republicans over the age of 65 approach this issue. Like right now, Israel is losing the public opinion battle in the United States of America. It is a simple and obvious fact. Donald Trump has said that publicly. It's a simple and obvious fact.
Why do you think that is?
Well, let me finish this point.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, my attitude is towards this is Israel is an ally. Like France or like the United Kingdom, we're going to have disagreements with them. We're going to have agreements with them. There are areas where we're going to have similar interests and areas where our interests are going to diverge. So my approach to this is to say, you know what? When we're partnered, great, let's work together. And we're not, let's just be honest about it. And for that, people attack me for being an anti-Semite or anti-Israel, and they don't see the writing on the wall that I'm actually just the guy advocating for a normal relationship with a normal country. That's big.
Guys, I want to remind you something real quick, right? When when JD Vance got asked about Thomas Massie, he said that him and Thomas Massie were friends, but that you can only vote against the party so many times. They just had a vote the other day in the Senate for that bill that's going to merge our military and intelligence with our not so greatest ally. Luckily for us, the bill did not pass. But I just want to remind you that every single Republican in office voted for it. Voted for it. Every single one. I believe the reason it didn't pass, even though it got more votes, is because it needed 60. It only got 50. The votes of every single Republican. So when JD Vance is telling you that Thomas Massie, the most pro-American, pro-Constitution member of Congress, when he gets ousted and JD Vance is over there saying that's what happens when you vote against the party, what do you think JD Vance is going to actually do if he's in office, if he becomes president? You think he's going to go against the party?
Based around shared interest as opposed to based around, something else. So why is Israel losing American public opinion.
Well, the narrative is that Israel has a very disproportionate effect on American politics.
Yeah, I see that. I see that narrative. I mean, I actually think that they look, do they try to influence American politics? Yes. But like I said earlier, a lot of other countries do. I think
To the extent that Israel does,
I think
though?
some are better at it than others. I think the Israels are definitely more effective at it than most, but I wouldn't say that they're the only effective country by any means that tries to influence American politics. I just think you have to be self-aware about it. I mean, why wouldn't you? It's a country of 9 million people. We have 330 million people. And so, of course, they're going to try to persuade Americans. They're going to try to move Americans in one direction or another. I think that's just the nature of the beast.
But it's more than that. The concern is that they're spying on American politicians, that there's concerns about funding, there's concerns about influence, there's concerns about whether or not politicians are, whether they're aligned with Israel or whether they're aligned with the United States first.
Well,
and you know what? You got to give credit to Joe Rogan for at least pushing back here and saying what he's saying, you know, because it's the things that need to be said. I don't know if he necessarily pushed back as hard as he could have when it came to the Big E files, but here at least he's making the points, you know, and props to him for that.
Well, there's certainly, like, I definitely get those concerns, but my sense is that the way that all foreign influence works in the United States is people try to manipulate American public opinion. And then from manipulating a public opinion, they try to get the outcomes that they want. I mean, this thing is a very good example of this. So, you know, like, we know, I'm telling you, beyond a reasonable doubt, we know that the negotiation strategy that the president has asked us to pursue, and again, with limitations, like when the Iranians hit ships, the president has been willing to knock the hell out of the Iranians in response. This is not just a negotiation. It's negotiation, it's military, it's all these things. But I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that there have been people within the Israeli government who are trying to, like, actually shift us away from that policy because they want to continue the military campaign. And by the way, like, there are people within their government that I love, I have good relationships with. I hope, and I don't think that they're part of this. I mean, you know, the ambassador of Israel to the United States, I think, is actually a really good guy. Obviously, he cares about Israel first.
Mike Huckabee. All right, so JD Vance thinks that Mike Huckabee is a really good guy. Good to know.
First, I care about America first.
Oh, what was that? Did I interrupt a good part?
It's military, it's all these things. But I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that there have been people within the Israeli government who are trying to, like, actually shift us away from that policy because they want to continue the military campaign. And by the way, like, there are people within their government that I love, I have good relationships with. I hope, and I don't think that they're part of this. I mean, you know, the ambassador of Israel to the United States, I think, is actually a really good guy. Obviously, he cares about Israel first. I care about America first.
Boom. He said it. He said, you know what? Props to JD Vance for that. I'll give him a clap. Props to JD Vance for saying out loud that the U.S. ambassador for Israel, is an Israel first guy. He's a nice guy, but he's Israel first. And JD Vance is saying that he is America first. Okay. I like that one.
But there are some people within their system we know beyond a shadow of a doubt who are manipulating and trying to change American public opinion to keep the war going on indefinitely. Again, not towards any objective, but just indefinitely. So, like, does it happen? Yes. But I guess what I would say to the Americans who sort of see this and are frustrated by it, my attitude would be, you should be frustrated at American leaders who are, you know, persuaded by this, affected by this. Countries are going to do what countries do. I really don't. It doesn't bother me that Qatar tries to influence the United States of America, and they do. I like a lot of the Qataris, just like I like a lot of the Israelis. It doesn't bother me that Israel tries to do this. It frankly doesn't even bother me that Russia or some of these other countries do it. It's just the nature of being a political leader in 2026. What does bother me is when those operations, those influence campaigns, actually affect American political judgment, because they shouldn't, because we should be thinking what is in the best interest of the United States of America.
Do you think that Israel is affecting American political judgment?
Look at the look on his face. It's going to be a long pour, guys. Let's see what he says. This is getting good.
I mean, I certainly think that there are a lot of talking points and there are a lot of arguments that make their way into American political discourse. I think there are a lot of social media campaigns that definitely influence Americans and affect Americans. Do I think that it's been dispositive on any particular issue? Like I think that's a much.
Yo, JD Vance brought his dancing shoes today. He is dancing around that question. He's tap dancing, tap, 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 tap. This is great. This is great. Look at the look on his face. He's like, how can I answer this question without making America hating me and without getting kirked? That's what he's thinking right now. He's like, how can I get out of this?
More difficult question.
Do you think that we would have started this war in Iran without the influence of Israel?
I think the president, completely separate from any influence from Israel, believes very strongly, and again, I agree with this, that Iran should not have a nuclear weapon.
Right,
and I
but
think he was
after
willing
we
to do things.
Bombed them in June, right? That was the initial attack, right?
June of last year.
Yeah.
Midnight Hammer. Yeah.
Right. Do you think he would have continued with the most recent campaign if it wasn't for the influence of Israel?
Yes, I do.
Really?
I do. Yeah. Look,
Why
I mean,
do you think
I think.
Yo, I gotta admit, Rogan is doing a much better job than I gave him credit for. I thought that, because he's buddies with Peter Thiel, that this was just going to be a total PR job for JD Vance. And it felt that way in the one clip that I watched about Epstein. But when it comes to this issue, look at JD's face right now. He's clearly under pressure. He's under pressure. This is good. I'm liking this. Guys, put a 1 in the chat if you're enjoying this.
Again, and I see this, and I see it even from people that are in our coalition. And this would be my flip side to the hawks who have been attacking me or the president mercilessly over negotiation. I would sort of turn this back on some of the doves or some of the realists who have been attacking the president of the United States.
The doves? Those are the peace people?
Peace people.
That's what you call them, the
hawks
doves?
and doves. You never heard that phrase?
I've heard hawks. I've heard hawks. I don't think I've ever heard doves.
Hawks and pigeons, hawks and I don't know.
I think it's more doves. Peace,
doves
right?
is good, right? So what I think a lot of people, I've heard this argument is this idea that Donald Trump, was sort of, I've even heard people say he was blackmailed into this.
Yeah,
by
a lot
the
of people
Israelis.
think that.
That's not true, dude.
No?
It's just not true. I've seen the decision making up close. Again, whether you agree or disagree with our negotiation, or whether you agree or disagree with the decision to launch the campaign Epic Fury to begin with, the idea that Donald Trump is being blackmailed is crazy to me. Because again, I see the way that he makes decisions. I see the way that he processes this stuff. Like the idea that he picks up the phone with anybody and says, hey, I'm going to take orders from you. No, that's just not how Donald Trump operates.
Can you understand, though, why people would come to that conclusion, especially because of the Epstein files?
What do you mean?
Well, the Epstein files were supposed to be released. And there was a tremendous amount of resistance to those files being released. And that concerned a lot of people.
What do you mean? Really? What do you mean? That's your answer? You're gonna try to dance around that one? Good luck.
If you're talking about very wealthy, powerful people that were engaged in crimes.
I see. So you're basically saying the fear is that whatever's in the Epstein files was used to blackmail the administration into doing the Iran thing.
Or at the very least, the people that were involved in the Epstein files that didn't want them coming out had undue influence.
Well, again, say this with all candor, we absolutely screwed up the comms of the Epstein files. like we just did.
The
But
comms.
do I think the reason we screwed up the comms is because we were trying to hide something? No. I think the reason we screwed up the comms of the Epstein files is one, you know, Pam Bondi said the client list is on my desk, right?
This is what I was talking about before. Yeah, we screwed up the comms. You know, it was Pam Bondi's fault. It's like, listen, Pam Bondi didn't just say the client list was on her desk. She said that it was going to take time because they had over 10,000 hours of footage of different people with children. And she had also said at one point that if all of this ever came out, that it would cause our whole system to collapse. That's what she said. That's what we heard. Nobody questioned it. And then all of a sudden, nothing came out. Keats gifting another 5 RealBayes memberships, helping to grow the community. Thank you very much, brother. I really appreciate you. Keats, you are the man. You've been here since the beginning of the stream, too. Thank you, my friend. But yeah, this is wild. They screwed up the comms. Unreal.
Well, they had binders. They were
100%,
standing in
right.
front.
But those binders were largely documents that had already been released, right? So let me try to.
Well, what was the
defend.
purpose of that performance?
And just remember those influencers that came out with those binders, you know, that giant PR stunt. Who were some of those people? Oh, that's right. Jack Posobiec, Liz Wheeler, the same people who are pushing this bullshit about Tyler Robinson right now. The same people that are getting out on their platforms lying, flat out lying to the American people, saying that they saw 4K footage of Tyler Robinson taking that shot, were the same people that came out of the White House smiling, saying, we got the first wave of files. We're going to tell you all about it, guys. You know, you got to keep track of these things. You got to know who's who in this business. You know what I mean?
Formative display of the Epstein files, and she was saying there's tens of thousands of hours of film.
I don't know what the purpose of it was, but I know that the effect of it was to make people mistrust the entire effort. And what I think was happening, look, I know Pam, I like Pam. I don't think there was anything malicious going on. I think Pam was trying to respond to the political moment. I think she overstated what we had and what we didn't have. And I think that she, you know, got roasted for it publicly by a lot of people, including me. Like, you know, you and I have talked about this a lot. I'm like one of the OG Epstein conspiracy theorists. I've probably gone down every single rabbit hole we could go down, most of them today. Look, the original sin of the Epstein investigation, and obviously I'm biased here, but it was not what Donald Trump and the administration did in 2025. It was
You know what? I got to give him credit, though. Again, I got to give credit where credit's due. Not so much giving him credit, but this goes to something that I had said early on in the very beginning, because when they said that the files were getting released, I said that there is no way that everything was going to be there. This guy had been in the trenches doing dirt since the 80s, through multiple administrations, including the Clinton administration, who he had strong ties with. So I said that there's no way that everything is going to actually be in the files, that a lot of stuff probably got scrapped. A lot of stuff probably never made the files at all. So listen carefully to what he's going to say, because, and again, it's going to come back down to that non-prosecution agreement that they did in 2007, where him and people around him were given immunity. I think that around that time, I don't know if it was part of that deal or part of the cover-up of that deal and what had been going on with Epstein at that time, was that they got rid of a lot of those files, or a lot of files never got made, or maybe a combination of both. And I actually believe that. I do believe that part. And he's going to talk about it right now.
To go back to 2007, 2008, the original Alex Acosta investigation of Jeffrey Epstein, where he basically...
Oh, and by the way, when he talks about Alex Acosta, Erica Kirk is now using Alex Acosta's lawyer. So that's a little tidbit of information, a little data point to keep in mind.
dropped the federal charges. I think Epstein ended up getting prosecuted on some sort of local thing. But the original warrant, you go to the original warrant back in 2008. What was he looking for? What was he allowed to look for? What were they collecting? It was not looking at a broader conspiracy. So that happens. Okay. Epstein gets pinched. I think he goes to prison, or maybe this is when he was on house arrest. But like anything that existed from the 80s and 90s up to 2006, 2007, anything that existed that we didn't get back then was disappeared. Right. So like when people say, has what you've seen on the inside make you think that that Epstein never blackmailed people, or that Epstein never engaged in broader sex trafficking? No, absolutely not. What I have seen, and I've looked at most of the files, is that there just wasn't dispositive evidence. And if that dispositive evidence ever existed, it was probably destroyed after 2006, 2007. Now, like, again, in our defense, yes, was there some bitching and moaning, and was there some back and forth? Yes. But
now listen, again, I believe what he's saying, but the part that he's leaving out is that even if those files were destroyed, even if some of the stuff never made the files, there are enough investigative journalists and independent researchers like myself, like Ian Carroll, like Whitney Webb, that have gone down these rabbit holes and already know more than enough that if JD Vance wanted to organize some private investigation to really dig into things and find the evidence so that they could actually start charging these people, we're all one call away. JD Vance, you want to call me? I could point you in the right direction. I promise. You would have the biggest roundup of scumbags that we've ever seen in the history of our country. Because the evidence is there. All you have to do is follow the money. Follow the bank's transaction. Sorry. Follow the money. Follow the transactions. Follow the NGOs. Follow the bodies. Because make no mistake, there are multiple people that are not with us anymore because of what was happening. And there are enough people that know and that have done the research that could provide maybe not hardcore evidence, but could definitely point them in the direction on where to find it. And they know that. So this part of what he's saying is completely disingenuous.
We eventually collected 6 million documents as part of the effort. The president, people say the president was forced into releasing the documents. Like, again, the idea that Donald Trump could not have killed that legislation, especially with the United States Senate, is a joke. He absolutely could have killed it. What did he do? He actually said, no, we're going to release these files. He thought, he was annoyed by the story. He was annoyed by the Democrats accusing him of doing things bad. By the way, like, do I think there is I've never seen a single piece of credible evidence that the president of the United States engaged in wrongdoing with minors, ever. So like when the president says the hoax, that's what he's talking about, is this democratic idea that he somehow was a pedophile. It's absurd. There's no evidence for it. Now, the Epstein law gets signed. We find 6 million documents. We find out 3 million of them are actually responsive, has something to do with the Epstein estate. We release all of them, with the exception of a few things that are like, the courts have said that we have to redact certain things or we can't release certain files. But like, we did release all these files. Did it take longer than it should have taken? Yes. But we did release these files. And again, the problem here is not like anything that's in the files or not in the files. The problem is, if you go back to the original investigation, it was designed in a way that was way too narrow. If there was a broader conspiracy, and my view is that there probably was, the evidence that existed in 2007, that was the opportunity to get
So
it.
when you say there probably was a broader conspiracy,
Well, we already know now that, back in 2005, when Epstein first got arrested and they were raiding his homes and, coming with search warrants, that they were told where they were allowed to look for evidence and where they weren't. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine if, for whatever reason, the FBI came knocking on your door and you have all these different people that are searching because you committed some kind of horrible crime, allegedly, and all of a sudden there's another guy standing there saying, no, you can't go in that filing cabinet. Nope, nope, nope. You can look in this closet, but you can't look in that dresser. No, no, no. Don't go in that room. That room's off limits. Because that's exactly what happened back then. There was an arrest. There were searches, but there were very, very narrow parameters in which the people that were doing the investigation were allowed to look and where they weren't allowed to look. That part is true.
Exactly, you're saying.
I think there are a few different options. I mean, look, man, I like you and I could literally do 2 episodes about this. I've gone on down to every rabbit hole. There's this funny New York Times story that's somewhat true, somewhat false, but where Susie Wiles, the White House chief of staff, says, well, we know JD's a conspiracy theorist on this. Like I am, actually. I've gone down every rabbit hole here. Look, so there's the theory.
Yes, I see this comment. I'm going to pull it up. It is also true that I don't know about essentially creating a new DOJ, but they are blocking investigations into the Zorro Ranch, which would be a great place to do an investigation. But it is true that they are not allowing it today, just like back then they weren't allowing certain places to be searched back then.
That whether it was American intel or foreign intel, that Epstein was sort of using sort of the sex ring to blackmail rich and powerful people. There's that piece of it. You know, I think there's a separate conspiracy that hasn't gotten covered as much, which is that Epstein actually, okay, if you go back to the original Epstein guy was Les Wexner, okay, who Columbus, Ohio, was the wealthiest.
Another lie. When they say the original Epstein guy, like, what are you talking about? Les Wexner was one of Epstein's facilitators. You want to talk about the Epstein guy before Epstein? That was Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell's father, the person that recruited Jeffrey Epstein and set him up with Ghislaine. But that's a whole other mess. I'm sure most of you know, and if you don't, you could go back and watch some of my older videos. I've covered that pretty extensively, and I'm going to be covering it again in the future. But yeah, you want to talk about the original Epstein guy, Les Wexner. Yeah, he's a very, very big piece of the puzzle. But it goes before that. It goes beyond that.
This person in Ohio maybe still is the wealthiest person in the state of Ohio. The thing that everybody in Columbus, I lived there for a time, knew about the Wexner-Epstein relationship is that Epstein was his tax guy. That Epstein was like the genius at identifying weird tax strategies that would allow you to not have to pay taxes. But if you were being a little skeptical, would also say that it would allow Epstein to either blackmail people or to have a separate nexus of.
And just so you guys know, in case you haven't seen, the first video that I ever made on this channel was a long deep dive into Les Wexner and his whole history. And it's definitely worth a watch. I'm very, very nervous. I'm doing a lot of reading off of the screen. I am not the same Bayes on camera that I am today. But just for the information, I mean, you want to learn something, just copy and paste that transcript and load it into ChatGPT or whatever AI that you use. And it's a really good place to start, believe me.
Influence and control on rich and powerful people. And so I think there's an underreported, underexplored story of was Epstein like doing a lot of tax stuff that was not on the up and up? And is that one way in which he gained blackmail? It's not opposite of the sexual blackmail story, but in some ways it's you know, you could imagine both things being true. I also just think there's an element of he was a scumbag. He was a very sick person. He built relationships with a lot of other rich and powerful people who just didn't have any real moral judgment about the fact the guy was obviously a scumbag. And again, to go back to defending Donald Trump, I know people don't want to hear this these days, but like, who was the guy? People say Donald Trump's blackmailed by Jeffrey Epstein. Who was the guy who narked on Epstein to the Palm Beach police. That's in the Epstein files.
Right.
It was Donald Trump.
He
So,
also kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago.
He kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago.
And that part is true too. That Donald Trump narked on Epstein to the feds. Oh, the webs we weave.
It's just, again,
Well, it's obvious that Epstein was a sick man.
Yes, but if people want to say we mishandled the Epstein release, guilty. We did mishandle, especially the communications of it.
What do you think should have been done?
I think that we should have just dropped everything at the very beginning. And like, obviously it takes a little time to review the stuff, to find the stuff, to redact things where you have victims and so forth. But we should have just done it as quickly as possible.
But some of the stuff that was redacted, some of the names that were redacted weren't victims.
So yeah, I've looked into this.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. Just DM me. Or you guys could email me. Here, let me put my email in here so you guys know what it is. It's RealBayesTeam@gmail. Anytime you guys got any tips, any stories, you want to reach out, that's the best place to reach me, at RealBayesTeam@gmail.
And my understanding of this, having looked at a lot of this, but not all of it, is that it is sometimes hard to draw a distinction between victim and co-conspirator. And like, let me highlight this in a very sort of obvious way. Ro Khanna, who's been one of the loudest voices on the Epstein file. Well, he became very loud on the Epstein files the minute Donald Trump became president, didn't seem to care about it during the Biden administration. He actually brought one of the Epstein victims, I think, to the State of the Union last year, or maybe it was the year before last. Well, like that victim, and I'm not saying she wasn't a victim. I don't know anything about her particular case. She was also listed as a co-conspirator in some of these documents, right? So there's an idea that some of the people who were engaged in the sex trafficking were also, facilitating it as well.
So they were incentivized to get more girls.
Yeah, but yes, that's right. But the idea is that it's hard to sort of, it's sometimes a little bit of a gray area between, some of the people who were alleged victims were also alleged co-conspirators. And so what DOJ tried to do was kind of make that judgment as best they could and release as much as possible.
But it's clear that he was trying to get in contact with people that he felt were influential. It was clear that he was trying to get people to get together on the island and meet at parties. So there was something he was doing where he was trying to either influence people or compromise people.
Correct.
So it's not, there's some sort of an operation that was going on.
There is a story there. And, I will go to my deathbed believing there's a story there, but I can't prove it. And I promise you there's not some document that at least I'm hiding that allows us to prove exactly what was going on and how.
He was also trying to get scientists. And this is one of the reasons supposedly
100%.
why he got that ranch in New Mexico.
So a friend of mine has this element.
And again, it's not just that he was trying to get scientists. He had deep, deep ties with the most prestigious colleges and institutions in our country. You got to remember, some of his best friends were Lawrence Summers and Alan Dershowitz. Alan Dershowitz was one of the longest tenured professors in the history of Harvard. Lawrence Summers was the president of Harvard for a time. And funny story, Ben Shapiro was actually in Alan Dershowitz's class while Lawrence Summers was president of Harvard. But that's another topic that I've already covered in the past and made a whole video about. You can find that one under my lives.
Sorry, I should step back. Conspiracy theories. One of the ways you discredit a conspiracy theory, I've thought about this a lot, is try to hide it. Another way you discredit conspiracy theory is by flooding the zone. So one of the things I've tried to do when looking at all this stuff is to try to understand sort of where it fits in and to, try to separate the real from the fake. But one really interesting element of the whole Jeffrey Epstein saga. Okay, so he dies in 2019, right? This is at the very end of the first Trump administration. His death coincides very, very closely. This is not my observation. This is a friend, but I don't want to, reveal confidences here. it coincides very closely with the end of what you might call the era of censorship in academia. So back in 2019, 2020, we reached sort of peak academic censorship, where people wouldn't publish a medical study because it might have sort of disparate impact racial undertones, or people were getting fired from academia for not doing land acknowledgements.
Damn, guys, do me a favor right now, because I'm like looking at my analytics live while we're going, and the algorithm is kicking me in the dick right now for talking about all this and playing this part of the video. So if you can, I would really appreciate it. Like the video, share the video, because that helps the algorithm a lot. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell, because I'm not even kidding. I'm like looking at the chart, and like certain parts, I say certain things, they say certain things, and I'm seeing like little drops in viewership. I don't know if you guys are seeing it, but I'm noticing it, and I hate when that happens.
Stuff like that. Okay. I'm not saying that stuff has completely gone away, but Epstein, we know, was funding a ton of scientists. By the way, where did his money come from? He was funding a ton of scientists, but like when he died, it's almost like the era of censorship started to break, because he was also plugged into a lot of in academia, but also, you know, he's plugged into the social media companies. Like, this is a dude who knew everybody. He knew everybody. So look,
So where did his money come from?
Well, from giving, part of it is suspect tax advice and setting up tax schemes for a lot of very, very rich people.
Right, but why was
And
he
possibly
motivated to influence academia, and what was the purpose?
I don't know the answer to that question. I mean, I have theories. There's of course the
Well, most people think he was Mossad.
Yeah, Mossad or CIA or some other deep state, whether in America or Israel or another country, or both. You know, look, he clearly had connections to the highest levels of American intelligence. He clearly had connections to the highest levels of Israeli intelligence. In fact, one of the interesting things the Epstein saga reveals about, and I try to make this point, is one of the reasons why I'm always careful, and I say there are some elements within the Israeli government who don't like our peace process, because there are a lot of elements within the Israeli government that actually do like our peace process. They recognize that this indefinite campaign is not good for them either. And the Epstein thing is interesting, because as much as I know, you know, Prime Minister Netanyahu, not a particularly popular person in the United States of America right now, Epstein seemed to be connected to the elements of the Israeli deep state that were left of center. Like, I've always found that fascinating.
Here's a little interesting piece of information. So we've all heard the stories about J.E.'s ties to the Clintons and to Bill Clinton, and how once upon a time he had gone to the White House 17 times over the course of 2 years to visit with Bill Clinton. Now, the person who facilitated those visits was a man named Mark Middleton. He was one of Bill Clinton's closest aides. If you're not familiar with Mark Middleton, he got found a couple of years ago hanging with a bullet wound in his chest. Now, when they first found him, first they said that there wasn't a weapon on the scene. Then they said that they did find a weapon on the scene, but it was like 30 feet away from the body, because that makes a lot of sense, right? But anyway, back in those days when Bill Clinton was president, Israel had a prime minister named Yitzhak Rabin. Yitzhak Rabin was, you could look him up. He was a long ruling prime minister for Israel. He was in office for a while, way back when. Then he was out of office. Then he was back in office. And he was working on a piece of legislation with Bill Clinton for the two-state solution called the Oslo Accords. Well, there was a person that was running against Yitzhak Rabin that really didn't like these Oslo Accords. He really didn't like these Oslo Accords, and he really didn't like Yitzhak Rabin. And he went around protesting and marching in the streets, even carrying a coffin, having people carrying a coffin that was supposed to represent Yitzhak Rabin. Well, right before that election, Yitzhak Rabin was assassinated. And the person who was running against him, who was doing all this, protesting, won that election. Does anybody want to take a wild guess who the man who won that election to become prime minister for Israel in 1996 was? It was none other than Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, another little fun tidbit to this story was during that time in the early 90s when Mark Middleton was bringing Jeffrey Epstein to the White House 17 times, the director of the CIA was a man named James E. Woolsey. James E. Woolsey was a conservative neocon that Bill Clinton allowed to be director of the CIA to try to be bipartisan. Now, years later, after all this happened, James E. Woolsey was a part of a documentary for a company that was, trying to promote some defense contracts. A documentary or short film, whatever you want to call it, called Black Start USA. That was produced in part by Laurie Franz-Fay. And that was in the documentary with him was none other than a woman named Erica Franz-Fay. So that's why a lot of these things kind of intertwine in certain points of history, which I happen to find fascinating.
It wasn't like he was super connected to the right of center of Israeli politics. America, he was connected across the board. Like he had Republican friends, he had Democratic friends. He had much deeper connections to the Israeli left of center than right of center. I don't know what that means.
He was hanging out with Steve Bannon and Noam Chomsky.
Exactly. He had, again, in America, he had friends across the political spectrum in a way he didn't necessarily have in Israel.
I had one of my guests try to get me to meet him.
Really?
Yeah.
When? 2017. See, that's crazy to me because at that point he'd already gone down for at least one like sex abuse thing.
That was my position. I'll show you the emails.
Okay.
Hold on. I think we already got everything that we needed to get out of that, and I'm about to wrap up this live. So let's end it on a high note. What do you guys say?
We have 5 major threats that make our grid extremely vulnerable that we've presented to congressional officials. 1 being cyber, 2 being hackers, 3 being physical threats, 4th one is solar EMP, and the 5th one is man-made EMP. So the concern that we have is that we put out this critical information, and when we go over this risk analysis.
This is back in what, like 2014? Look at her. She was very stunning, though. Not gonna lie. Very, very, very beautiful young girl. But yeah, look at her pretending that she's a CIA analyst.
They hear what we're saying, but they don't want to take action.
Well, there are 18 critical infrastructures in the United States.
And there he is.
Water.
And there he is. The former director of the CIA, who was director of the CIA while Jeffrey Epstein was visiting the White House to see Bill Clinton 17 times over the course of 2 years. Just saying. I mean, listen, maybe it means something, maybe it doesn't mean anything. But when you realize that the only reason that these two are in the same video is because of Erica's parents and their connections and their business ties, it starts to make you want to ask certain questions. Especially because you got to realize at the time when this documentary was made, Erica Kirk already had her NGO in Romania for about, 7 years at this point, maybe. She got that when she was young. And who else had NGOs in Romania or had ties and business ties and affiliations in Romania? You can look that one up on your own. You could take a couple wild guesses. I'm sure you guys could have 5 different answers, and 4 of you are going to be right.
Transportation, communications, etc. All 17 of the others depend on electricity.
If our grid goes down, you can't cook, you're not going to heat anything, you can't run any of your medical supplies, you can't talk on your phone, you can't take money out of a bank, and we turn into total chaos.
If this happens, the system stops.
If a transformer is taken down, we have to order it from Germany or China It's going to take a year.
Up till recently, there were no comprehensive protective solutions available.
We know what the solutions are. They're not expensive. They're not difficult to employ. We just need the political will to do it and the follow through on the part of the electric utilities to get it done.
The White House is protected from an EMP. The Congress and the CIA and the NSA, all of the areas that need to function in the government are protected. So why can't we be protected?
Around some of these facilities, you don't have much more than a chain link fence to keep people out. Now that seems absurd to me.
I think it is absurd when we now know that attack on as few as 9 grid substations could bring down all 3 major interconnections for the United States grid.
I don't know about you guys, but I think that is some serious fear mongering. Like, holy shit. Holy shit. All right, guys, but I'm going to have to wrap it up here. I've been going for over 3 hours. It is 4 a.m. where I am right now. And I am probably going to have to wake up somewhat early tomorrow. But I will be back tomorrow. Nate said he's doing his deep dive around 8 p.m. Eastern time. So I'll go live a little earlier tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Yeah, Friday. Free Speech Friday. Why not? Watch tomorrow be the first time in like a month or two that Ian Carroll finally decides to go live. If Ian is not going live, it is going to be a RealBayes hijacking of Free Speech Friday. If Ian is going live, I'm going to have to call it something else and try to time it around him and Nate because I hate overlapping with either of them. But yes, guys, I will be back. I will be live tomorrow. And then, of course, Saturday night, me and Danks will be live at 10 p.m. Eastern time for the They Think You're Stupid podcast. And we are going to have a banger. We had to cancel last week. So this is going to be our first show together in like 2 weeks. And it's going to be the first show that we're doing since the preliminary hearings. So, yeah, Saturday is going to be a banger. I'm going to make sure that tomorrow is a banger as well. And I hope to see you all then. So please, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Follow me on X at RealBayes. And thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for your time. And I hope to see you again tomorrow. And like I always say, be kind, be grateful, do something nice for somebody. And I'll see you guys later. Thank you very much.